A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. That's right, ladies. Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. You see, before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. And that's why Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. It's top U.S. government grades of beef, meat that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. Yes, it's a better value in top-grade beef. Now, for example, let's take a Kroger cut sirloin steak. Before the steak is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes the stringy end, excess waste, and excess bone. So you get a better value because you don't pay steak price for stringy meat, excess bone, or waste. But whether you buy a steak or a roast, you receive more meat, less waste. That's at your Kroger store. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store soon. Make it a rule to buy Kroger cut beef and get more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. When Penny Gibbs refused to have her failing eyes examined by a specialist, her doctors fully realized the seriousness of Penny's condition and now know how completely the news of Barry Carlton's death has destroyed her will to live. In his Rossville office, Dr. Ryan says to Penny's mother, Grace,
Dr. Weston phoned from the Heatherton Hospital this morning, Mrs. Billings, and we had a long talk about Penny. That's why I sent for you.
Oh, I hope she hasn't had a sudden relapse.
She's all right physically, but not mentally. She refused to see Dr. Jennifer.
The eye specialist? Oh, but she mustn't do that. She mustn't.
She's done it, though, Mrs. Billings, and somehow or other we have to undo what she's done.
But what can we do if she refused to see him?
We have to make her agree to see him. It's true that Dr. Jennifer hasn't gone out of his way to see Penny. He's one of Dr. Weston's closest friends, and he's in Heatherton to see several of Weston's patients with eye trouble. But just the same, Penny has to take advantage of Dr. Jennifer's being in Heatherton.
I know why she refused to see him, Dr. Ryan. I know what's going on in her mind, but I don't know what to do about it.
Mrs. Billings, Penny doesn't care. She has no interest whatsoever in her well-being or her future.
And also, she knows that Dr. Jennifer is expensive.
No. That's not why she refused to see him, because all Jennifer will do at first is examine her eyes and attempt a diagnosis of the trouble, if any. If there's any charge for that, it'll be nominal. It's just that Penny doesn't care if she goes blind.
She has to care. She has to be made to care.
That's why I've sent for you. If anyone can force her to let Jennifer look at her, you can.
You don't know what a job you're offering me, Dr. Ryan. Penny's a strong-willed girl.
I know that. But this time you're going to have to be the stronger.
Well, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
But unsympathetic as it may seem, you're going to have to get tough with her. Even bawl her out if you have to. Harsh words, Mrs. Billing, may be...
Dr. Ryan, I never in my life have used harsh words to Penny. I just can't use them now.
You're going to have to, Mrs. Billings, because nothing else will do. She's got to be told in no uncertain terms that she's being foolish about all this, even selfish.
Well, you think I've turned against her, Doctor?
Not if you make her see why you're talking to her as you are.
I suppose you're right. She has to let this doctor see her for her own sake.
And for the sake of all those around her, Mrs. Billings. Maybe she should be told that a blind person can be a burden to her family in some respects, especially during the long period of readjustment to a life without sight.
Oh, Dr. Ryan, it's too horrible to think about.
But it's something you have to think about. And something Penny has to be made to think about, too.
Well, I'll try.
Good.
But I understand so perfectly just how she feels about things. If I were Penny, I think I'd feel just as she does. I wouldn't care either. Barry Carlton wasn't just the man she was going to marry. He represented life to her and the happiness she's been looking for years.
Mrs. Billings, I understand all the reason and logic behind Penny's attitude. But I also know the ramifications of that attitude. How she feels today can act as a poison through her entire system. Can tear down her body just as if it were a disease.
I know.
This attitude of hers can kill. Slowly, yes, but surely. And medicine will be powerless to help her. That sounds incredible, doesn't it?
Yes, but I know it's true. Dr. Weston has warned me about the same thing.
Then you understand how important it is for you to talk to Penny and to shake her out of this lethargy.
Yes, Dr. Ryan, I do.
Good. Now, do you plan on going down to Heatherton today?
Well, I hadn't planned on it, but I think I'll go.
The sooner the better, Mrs. Billings.
I'm aware of that. I can take the noon train and be at the hospital early this afternoon. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to help her, Dr. Ryan, but if I don't, believe me, it won't be because I haven't tried.
Come in.
Hello, Penny.
Hello, Mother.
How are you this afternoon, darling?
About the same, I guess. Didn't expect to see you today.
Well, I was planning on staying in Rossville, but I changed my mind. Oh, I'm glad to see you have one of the blinds raised. So much more cheerful in your room when you allow a little light, dear.
Angela raised the blind. She insisted on keeping it that way. I don't much care one way or another.
Now, Penny, you're not
Mother,
going...
please, no lecture.
I think you need one.
I assure you I don't.
Well, you need something when you refuse to see Dr. Jennifer.
Mother, I just don't want him to bother.
Penny, you've no idea how silly you're being.
Isn't it my life to do with as I wish?
Yes, it is. It's your life. You can do with it whatever you want. And those are your eyes. You can go blind if that's what you want. But I'm your mother, or I'm as close to a mother as anything you have, and I feel that it's my unbounded duty to see to it that you help yourself in every way you can.
Mother, why should I help myself? For what reason? Just suppose I do get well. Suppose if there is anything the matter with my eyes, that this Dr. Jennifer operates, and the operation's successful. Suppose the scars on my face are fixed so that I look as I did before. Then what? It'll be all for nothing because nothing is all there is for me.
There's a good, full, rich, exciting life ahead for you, Penny.
How can it be full or rich or anything at all without Barry?
There'll be other things to fill that emptiness, darling.
Oh, Mother, that's so easy to say. Look, I don't want to do anything. There's no one to do anything for.
Oh, there isn't. Well, that's interesting. I'm not asking any favors of you, Penny. But have I ceased to exist? Does Jed no longer mean anything to you? Hasn't Nora Lang been more than a friend? Can't you give Freddie some thought and Johnny Keith? Don't you want to do anything for the people who will do anything they can for you? Well, don't you?
I've been very selfish, haven't I?
Well, up until now, Penny, you haven't been able to think about it. And quite understandably, too. But when all of us worry ourselves sick about you, and you refuse even to let a doctor look at your eyes, you're being extremely selfish.
Oh, Mother, I'm sorry. I haven't meant to be. I just haven't been thinking about anyone or anything except Barry. I'll let Dr. Jennifer look at me.
Oh, that's more like it. And will you let him do whatever he has to do to save your eyesight?
If it'll make you feel better. If you and Jed and all the others will be happy.
Don't you want to save your eyes? Can't you have the slightest desire to go on with the rest of your life as a normal, healthy, whole person?
Maybe a slight desire, Mother. Though not right now. Maybe later.
Then you are looking ahead, aren't you?
Well, I guess I have to a little bit. Darling, I still would like to die, but I know I can't always have my way. That I may go on living for a long, long time.
Of course you will, darling, and you'll want to. May I tell Dr. Weston that you'll see the eye specialist?
All right. I'll see him if you want me to.
Not for yourself? Not for your own sake?
Yes. I know if I'm blind, it'll be far more a hardship for you and the family than for me.
Oh, Penny.
I know I've been a burden enough already and problem enough to all of you. But I'll repay you all for your patience.
Yes?
Operator, this is Dr. Weston.
Yes, sir.
Will you try to find Dr. Jennifer for me? If he's in the hospital, you might find him in the 8th floor lab.
Yes, doctor.
Thank you. And if you find him, ask him if he can meet me here in my office right away.
Right away, sir.
Thank you. Well, Mrs. Billings, you managed to talk your daughter into seeing Dr. Jennifer.
Well, it wasn't easy, Dr. Weston.
No, I don't imagine it was. I used every imaginable argument, but I couldn't get her to agree to seeing him. Dr. Ryan said you might do the trick.
Well, I had to talk to her rather harshly, Dr. Weston. I hated to do it.
I'm afraid we're all going to have to give her a rather unsympathetic treatment for the next week or so.
Everyone, Dr. Weston? Oh, it seems so heartless after all.
I don't
Penny
say
did...
we'll subject her to any verbal cruelties, Mrs. Billings. But we were certainly no help to her with sympathy. Harsh treatment, or perhaps I should say, bold frankness, has brought one concession from her. Perhaps a continuation of the same treatment will give her a will to live again.
Well, you...
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, of course.
Hello?
Dr. Weston?
Yes?
Dr. Jennifer will be right up, sir.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you very much. Dr. Jennifer's going to be right up, Mrs. Billings. I want you to meet him.
Oh, I'm very anxious to.
I think you'll like him. Almost everyone does. He always surprises people, though. Most people must think a world-famous specialist is some kind of genius apart from ordinary humans. But Jennifer is certainly anything but that. He's a genius, certainly, but otherwise a kind and easy-to-get-along with man.
Well, I hope Penny will like him.
She'll have to like him. One look at him, and she'll have to.
Will Dr. Jennifer be able to save Penny's sight if she's really losing it?
If it's humanly possible, Mrs. Billings, Dr. Jennifer will save her sight. If, as you say, she is losing it. But I must remind you, too, that there are some things humans cannot do.
Is Dr. Weston warning Grace that Penny may lose her sight in spite of Dr. Jennifer's efforts? What will Dr. Jennifer's verdict be when he looks at Penny's eyes? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB! KCB! KCB means Kroger Cut Beef, and Kroger Cut Beef means more meat for your money. You see, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat, less waste. Because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, Kroger gives you more meat, less waste, and it's top U.S. government grades of beef. Tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. So visit your Kroger store soon. Order your favorite cut of steak or roast. If you buy a Kroger cut round steak or roast, notice that the Kroger method of cutting beef gives you a minimum of bone and removes excess waste before the steak or roast is weighed and priced. Remember, whether you buy a steak or a roast, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. Say, have you heard the big news? In the great Kroger Hot Dated Coffee Contest, you have the opportunity to win a big, luxurious Hudson sedan, an Alaska sealskin fur coat valued at $1,400, a Westinghouse laundromat roaster or a Dust-O-Matic iron. In 5 weekly contests, Kroger is awarding 1,160 prizes. The 4th week's contest closes midnight this Wednesday, November 5th. Get your entry blank with full details at your Kroger store and enter today. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, for another exciting transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, The Merchant of Venus by A.H. Phelps, Jr. But first, hear this.
When they play it hot and you dig the beat, oh, life is swinging, life's complete.
You make it Pabst, 'cause Pabst makes it perfect.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect. Just as we always have ever since 1844. So next time, you make it Pabst, because Pabst makes it perfect. America's Blue Ribbon beer from the Pabst Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect.
Now on X minus 1, The Merchant of Venus.
If you've ever tried to make a 6-inch marionette play the piano using spider webs 100 feet long for the strings, you'll have some idea of the job of administering personnel problems of the Venus colony from an office on East 41st Street in New York. But that's the way it's done. All recruitment and contract work for outspace employment is handled by the UN Off-World Commission. My particular mess is the Venus Project. Mostly the trouble comes to my phone extension. Work 'em here.
Work 'em. How long do you think we're going to stand for this?
Oh, General Carlson, how are you?
At the rate you're going, there won't be a man left on Venus or a dollar left in the budget. What kind of a personnel director are you?
Well, if you...
Don't you know this project is vital to every person on Earth?
General Carlson, just what is wrong?
30 more resignations came in from the colony on the last mail flight. 33 spineless quitters getting fat at the taxpayers.
Excuse me, General.
Listen to me, Workham. I'm getting awfully tired of the kind of recruiting you're doing.
Miss Kane, get me Dave Newsom on the other line. No, don't cut the General off. He's enjoying himself. He won't miss me.
It's this egghead inefficiency that's at the bottom of the whole thing.
Well, I'm not too sure about that, General.
Believe me, with one platoon of Rangers, I could get a colony in a stay up. Hello, Ron.
Dave, General Carlson's on the other phone yelling at my desk blotter. He says 30 more resignations came in. That right?
Actually, 23. 7 for sick leave.
What's the breakdown? Mostly farmers or technicians?
Well, there were only 9 technicians left. This batch cleans them out. The rest are farmers.
What's left?
A couple of farmers, trappers, and the scientists. They seem to stick it out all right.
Different contracts. They only have a 2-year hitch and then come back to Earth if they want to. Listen, meet me down at the coffee shop. No, Carlson goes down there sometimes. The saloon over on 43rd, about 10 minutes. The saloon was decorated in old-fashioned foam and plastic furniture. It looked straight out of the antebellum 1950s. I found Dave waiting for me in a booth, and we got right down to it.
Listen, why don't we leave this last bunch of quitters right where they are? Refuse to bring them home. Then they'd have to make a go of the colony to save their scrawny necks.
Oh, I'd like to, but even General Carlson wouldn't dare. We'd never get another colonist off Earth. And our main job is to relieve population crowding on Earth. If we get tough with the colony, a man would be a fool to go.
Every one of these quitters talks like he was just sprung from Devil's Island.
This isn't getting us anywhere. I want you to shoot me up the files on this last batch of quitters. Maybe we'd better have a staff meeting on it. Get the psychology section, the preliminary interviewers who passed these men, and I'll have Jameson, too.
What do you want a historian for?
Maybe he can find us something interesting in the project record. He's used to deducing the philosophical and religious behavior of the ancient Hittites from a loose translation of a cuneiform laundry bill.
Shall I get them all down here?
No, we'd better make it formal. Book a conference room. When you get Jameson into a saloon, he spends all his time thinking up guessing games to avoid paying for his drinks. No, make sure about General Carlson.
I'll tell his secretary.
No. Make sure he doesn't hear about it. I don't have anything against General Carlson personally. It's just that there's always been a fight over Venus Project. The military versus the rest of us soft, decadent civilians. Carlson felt the right way to settle any virgin territory was to set up a military outpost on the ground that soldiers had always been the best operators under similar circumstances. I had lunch with Dave before the conference.
You want to call the Greasy Spoon in order?
What's on the menu?
Well, Protost burger, sliced barbecued yeast, or seaweed borscht with boiled algae balls.
Just coffee. Black coffee.
Well, they don't have coffee. What do you think this is, the Chambord? You can have Neocap or Syntho tea.
And that just about sums up the problem the Earth faces. Scientific agriculture and hydroponics had gone just about as far as they could. Synthesized foods couldn't take up the slack. If the people of Earth kept on emulating the extinct rabbits, as they showed every intention of doing, we had about 30 years before we'd all be standing on each other's shoulders, chewing our fingernails for nourishment. Or rigid birth control would go into effect, with the whole attendant problem of racial tension, nationalistic wars, and bootleg conceptions. The group gathered in the conference room looked sour enough to have been dining on seaweed borscht for a week. All right. I suppose I sum up what we all know already. It'll give us time to stall before we face problems to which we have no answers.
That's a cheerful beginning.
All right. Now, for 6 years, we've been trying to establish a self-sustaining colony on Venus. Why? Take the monorail out to Bucks County or up to Vermont at rush hour. There just isn't any more room on Earth. They've just opened the Dome Colony in Antarctica, and the housing areas in the Amazon Valley. And they're already piled up with a 10-year waiting list. All right, we send out colonists. What happens?
They quit.
Thank you, Mr. Jameson. The resignations come in. By terms of the contract, we have to transport them back to Earth inside of a month of resignation. There'll be nothing left on Venus but a few small clearings in the jungle and a few empty beer cans. Now, I'm not accusing anyone here of making mistakes, but I think we have to seriously consider whether we're spending money for nothing.
Rod, you said the problem was insoluble. We know what we need up there. It's just that we're still making some mistake in selection, in psychological screening. That's all. You're not going to quit, are you, Rod?
Well,
we're not. We'll get these studies out and check again. Venus Project is too important to fail, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's a cheap trick, but it always works. I talk with a heavy, heavy heart. Dave jumps in to shill like a Boy Scout. It always amazes me how a bunch of Ph.D. psychologists can get suckered into enthusiasm every time. We tried to figure out what made the settlers quit. We went into their backgrounds, their personality psych profiles. The coffee grew stale and the smoke heavy. Nothing.
Look, Rod, here's what it boils down to. A man has to be unstable to want to leave Earth, but he has to be stable to stay on Venus. You need initiative and resourcefulness to make out on a new planet. But if you had it, you'd make out fine at home. You need young, healthy, vigorous, mature, older, experienced people all rolled into one. We're looking for a collection of walking paradoxes.
You're listening to The Merchant of Venus, tonight's attraction on X-1. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. That's the new savings bond with the higher interest rate. The improved Series E savings bonds that now mature faster to pay you back extra dollars faster. Yes, when you think of saving, think of savings bonds. They offer you the safe, easy way to save regularly. Safe because each bond is backed by the United States government itself. And it's easy because you can buy bonds either where you bank or through the payroll savings plan where you work. And remember, you get back $4 at maturity for every $3 invested. So you earn extra dollars. But the big news is that the maturity period is shortened to only 8 years and 11 months. So join the bond wagon. Start a family savings program. Invest in improved Series E bonds first thing tomorrow. And hold the bonds you already own. Now back to X-1 and The Merchant of Venus.
We tried brainstorming on Project Venus. You know, just sit around and let the ideas seep out of your unconscious.
Take kids up and bring them up on Venus under guard.
Grow colonists in test tubes and ship them out wrapped in glass.
Start trial colonies in the Congo.
Nothing. I was mulling the conference over by myself in the saloon when Jameson dropped into a chair beside me.
Hi, Rod.
Oh, hello.
Hey, I got a new game. I take 3 matches in my right hand and
Don't
you guess...
bother. I'll pay for the drinks.
Rod, you're taking the sport out of sponging.
I see nothing amusing in being a petty con man.
How about that snow job you work on the psych team every couple of weeks? You could get rich selling bogus mining stock to investigators for the SEC.
There is a difference between legitimate personnel psychology.
Sure. How about when you threatened to quit?
Well, I'm not sure I was kidding.
What would happen if you quit?
Carlson would probably send a military outpost up there. Make a clearing, build a fort, maybe a town, and then he'd try to get people to come and live in it. It won't work, though. They'll want to know why the planet had to be colonized that way. Why wouldn't the civilian colonists stay?
Rod, this may surprise you, but I agree with you. But not because of your fancy psych profiles and emotional mathematics. A free people will not willingly move into a military township. Rod, you a gambling man?
I told you, I'll pay for the drinks.
No. I mean, would you take a 50-50 chance if the colony had a chance of working out?
Guess so. It's better odds than I'd give at the moment.
All right. You're on.
Now, wait a minute. What are you talking about?
Never mind. Here, look. I take 3 matches in my right hand...
And that's all he said. I found out a week later what was going on when I was called on the carpet by General Carlson.
And as I understand it, this plan of Mr. Jameson's was smothered in your office because of professional jealousy, Mr. Jameson having no degree in psychology.
Is that what he told you?
Mr. Workham, I'm very busy. I have a conference with Mr. Jameson in exactly 7 minutes.
I caught him later that afternoon.
Now, take it easy, Rod. That's the only way I could get Old Blood and Sarsaparilla to snap at my bait. If he thought you were sitting on an idea, he was bound to grab it.
You know he dry-docked me for 6 weeks.
Go fishing. Have a good time. When you get back, I'll have my little swindle going full blast.
That is exactly what I did. I went fishing. When I came back to work, I had to fight to get into the building.
Hey, who you pushing?
I work in here.
Yeah, line fucker.
What do you mean?
You're going to wait your turn like the rest of us.
What's going on in there?
What, are you kidding? This is the volunteer office. Where have you been?
Volunteer for what?
The Venus colony.
Oh, no. That's a little office around on 43rd Street.
Wake up, Bud. They moved out of that office last week.
You mean all these men are volunteering?
Sure. Hey, you got a bottle on you?
Bottle?
Anything. A little California seaweed juice, maybe. I ain't fussy.
Are you a trained farmer?
Do I look like a hayseed?
Technician? Mechanic?
Listen, Buster. That's for marks, rubes, hits. I know how to take care of myself. But the suckers push tractors around. You sure you ain't got a shot?
No.
Man, I can hardly wait till I get there.
The nearest saloon?
Venus, man, Venus.
What are you going to do when you get there?
Well, snake me a little climb. Then let the creds roll in. Going to get me a year's supply of the best pre-war scotch, and I'm going to use it up in a week.
They don't pay that kind of wages at the colony.
Wages? That's for square johns. I'm going out for the hot stuff. You know what I mean?
Radioactives? Well, the government assays don't show enough to make it worth shipping.
That's what they want you to believe. I heard they got loads of big U's so rich, you got to wear a lead union suit to get near them.
Don't you realize there's nothing but jungle up there, and insects and spores and fungus?
All right. I know the story. That's to keep out suckers. Take it from me, bud. Just look around. The smart money knows the truth. I'm getting in on the ground floor.
Jameson, you irresponsible idiot.
Ah, Rod, how are the fish?
I know what you're doing, and I won't put up with it. You've told those dupes down there they can get rich on Venus.
Well, they're volunteering.
And I suppose you think if you get enough of them, you'll find what you want. But have you looked at them? Crooks, gangsters, bums, hobos, drunks, and I don't know what.
They are a little picturesque, aren't they?
Well, you've got recruits, all right. But what kind of a society are you going to start with them?
Rod, you're not being just a teeny-weeny bit snobbish, are you?
Look, this isn't a joke. I don't care who goes as long as they meet some standards. But to make a decent place, you need decent people, morally clean and healthy.
And to think this is a man I have seen playing stud poker.
You've got a collection of bums and alcoholics and criminals. Probably half of them are wanted by the cops. You've got to stop.
There wasn't a thing I could do. I issued a statement to the press, and I got editorials attacking me for trying to keep the riches of Venus from the common man. Days passed, weeks. The training and screening compounds were jammed, and the transports lifted from Cocoa Base on a tight schedule, 100 men to a ship, not counting crew. People traveled miles to apply. They drifted in from every skid row around the world. Then the numbers decreased. Day by day, the get-rich-quick propaganda seemed to be losing its grip. About a year passed, and the lines had dwindled down to about a steady 5 men a day. I went through my routines in a kind of daze, horrified at the tale history would write about the society that was recruited through my office. Then one day I met a man in a lunchroom. He asked me the way to the recruiting office. We got to talking. That afternoon, I found Jameson in the saloon and cornered him.
Look, I take 4 lumps of sugar in my left hand, and you try to guess which one...
Never mind.
It's just a little sporting proposition.
I've had enough sporting propositions out of you. Jamie, I just talked to a recruit.
How democratic of you.
I'm not kidding. He was an engineer who tossed up a good job to go out to the colony.
How nice.
I did a little more checking. They changed. There are farmers with their families, school teachers, lawyers, doctors, and then 2 ex-colonists applied yesterday to go back.
Guess which hand holds...
Listen, there is on the bar a pre-war bottle of scotch at $25 an ounce. I will buy you the whole bottle for an explanation.
Oh, well, wait till I put the sugar back in the bowl.
Jamie, how did you do it? Were we so far wrong with our charts and psychomath?
Actually, you told me how to do it. Remember you said if there was a recently pioneered society around for you to test, you could set up your standards? Well, all you needed to do was duplicate the kind of person who settled America, or Australia, or California. As an historian, I knew what they were like, and I knew what brought them. So I put out the same bait.
In a pig's eye, you did. How about freedom of religion, freedom from oppression? That had something to do with settling America, didn't it? Isn't that what brought people to this country? I saw that cesspool full of tramps you started with. If there was a Tom Paine or a Ben Franklin among them, I'll eat a whole Rorschach series 1 ink blot at a time.
Rod, you are no historian. Franklin was born here. Paine didn't come over in the first wave. Pioneers are not necessarily young, healthy, or moral. America wasn't founded only by pilgrims. They were actually a minority. We were settled by promoters, bonded servants, British convicts, pickpockets, thieves, French and Spanish pirates. They came here for gold, or to beat a hangman's rope. That's the kind of person who settles a new land. Misfits, drunkards, fugitives from justice. Too sick in mind or body to make a go of it where they are.
But what kind of society will they make out of it?
What kind did the sweepings of Newgate make out of America? After a while, they stop shooting each other down in the streets, and civilization catches up with them. For one thing, they get married. And it's amazing what a civilizing influence a wife is.
Won't they be a little sore? After all, you just worked the greatest hoax since...
Since the immigrants came to America because they heard the streets were paved with gold. Well, I'll be going along myself soon.
You?
Yep. Now that they've got a colony going up there, they'll be making history. And besides, I understand there's a wide-open gambling saloon at New Abilene on the Neo-Texas Peninsula. I'm anxious to try my luck on the wheel. I wonder if that pre-war bottle of scotch will stand the acceleration.
Fred Collins again, and I'll be back with a word about X-1 in a moment.
This is Bob Haynes speaking to you from somewhere in the Caribbean. I am aboard a UDT personnel landing craft. That's the underwater demolition team. We are right now on our way out to rendezvous with United States submarine Sea Lion.
Monitor took you there.
Some men go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Some people sit on top of flagpoles. But we have a man by the name of Rajah Phillips from India who is buried alive right in the center of a furniture store here in Owensboro, Kentucky.
And Monitor took you there. Big events, little events, offbeat events, comedy, music, news, and sports. They're all part of the top variety of entertainment Monitor brings you all weekend long. This is Frank Blair inviting you to join us on Monitor every weekend and Friday nights, too, on most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
This is Walter O'Keefe, inviting you to listen in on the Nightline. Tonight, live the incredible life of ages yet to come, in a time that might be 1,000,000 years from now, on X-1. Now, an incredible story of the world beyond.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years on 1,000, maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, The Haunted Corpse by Frederick Pohl. But first, hear this.
Whenever you want things to be just right, be it here or there or day or night,
you make it Pabst, 'cause Pabst makes it perfect.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect. Just as we always have ever since 1844. So next time, you make it Pabst, because Pabst makes it perfect. America's Blue Ribbon Beer from the Pabst Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect.
Now, X-1 and the story of The Haunted Corpse.
We moved in at 0800. That's pretty good time, considering that Van Pelt turned up at the Pentagon on Thursday, and it took until Monday morning to go in and see the general. By Tuesday, I had a task force of 135 men bivouacked around the old man's place. Corporal McCabe, my orderly, reported mission accomplished.
Well, Colonel, there's a whole company dug in down the road right yonder, and wings is all set up right here like you done ordered. We got a copy of them recon cars from the cavalry roaming like a passel of June bugs quartering a handkerchief.
McCabe isn't very bright, but he's loyal. Well, about 9 in the morning, the old man woke up. I suppose the firing at the auxiliary pistol range I set up got him out of bed.
Get out of here. Go on, you. Get those trucks off my lawn.
Get out!
Dr. Horn!
Oh, what is this, the Boy Scout Jamboree? Are you the scoutmaster?
Dr. Horn, I am Lieutenant Colonel Windermere, sir. My orders are to establish a security cordon about your laboratories.
What?
Here you are, sir, my copy of your orders.
What the devil is this nonsense?
You will see they are signed by General Follinsby himself.
I know. That sniveling rat Van Pelt. He went to the army, is that it? That mountainous, ungrateful tub of rancid lard went crawling into Washington and ratted to some tin soldier.
Sir, General Follinsby is not a tin soldier.
Is that it? Did Dick Van Pelt come to you with some cock and bull story? The chicken-livered, worm-eaten, misbegotten offspring of
Dr. Horn, the General asked me to give you his personal assurance that we will not interfere in your work here. But I'm sure you understand the importance of security.
Now, you listen to me. The Horn effect is my personal property, not the government's or the Army's. What is this, creeping socialism?
Sir, security. My orderly isn't cleared.
Oh, that don't make no never mind, Colonel. I don't rightly grasp what he's saying nohow.
McCabe, report to my tent.
Oh, just when it's getting interesting.
Now, Dr. Horn, I want you to know that I'm here to help you. If there's anything you want, just ask me. If you want to go into town, that can be arranged. Of course, you'd better give us 24-hour notice so we can clear the streets and check out all...
Young man?
Yes, sir.
You may go to the devil.
Of course, he went in to call the Pentagon and protest. He had a lot of spirit for an old civilian of about 75.
Hello? This is Dr. Eric Horn. I want to protest an invasion of my privacy.
Of course, Dr. Horn, I understand.
There's an officious young Cub Scout out at my place making a pet of himself. A lieutenant something.
Lieutenant Colonel Windermere.
But I called Washington.
Yes, sir, but our intercept monitor put the call through to me. We'll take care of any outside calls you wish to make.
Of all the insufferable... Oh.
At about 0600 the next morning, I ran a surprise full-scale inspection and simulated infiltration.
Hey, look there! You trigger-happy idiots! It's me, McCabe! And you simulated! You hear?
Fortunately, he was only grazed. The wire stringing detail worked all night, and we had surrounded the old Victorian house with triple-strand electrified barbed wire with guard towers every 50 feet. At 1400, I paid a call on Dr. Horn.
What are you doing here?
Good afternoon, Dr. Horn. I came in for your report.
My what?
Your daily progress report. It's in my orders. Paragraph 8. Just carry on, sir. Corporal McCabe will take your words down. Oh, his clearance came through last night. You have a method for electronically killing a man without touching him.
Killing, Lieutenant? Will you tell me what in the sweet name of heaven did I say that gave you that particularly stupid notion? But I understand. You think this is a weapon.
Of course, sir.
Of course. My machine renders humans into corpses. A chipped flint will also do that. Look, you simpleton, don't you realize what my machine can do? It can separate that something which, added to a body, produces a man. A subtracted leaves a corpse. I can separate the two things without destroying them. You understand that I can take the ghost of life out of a body and keep it unharmed. Try to understand that, you pig-headed, mule-eared, rabbit-faced...
You're listening to The Haunted Corpse, tonight's attraction on X-1. You know, the property value of your home depends on the well-being of your community and your neighborhood. On things like good lighting for your streets, accessible parks and playgrounds, and cleaning up slums. And what others are doing, you can do. In Michigan, a city group launched Operation Bootstrap to rehabilitate houses, clean up slums, and interest everyone in better living standards. In Pennsylvania, a local real estate board surveyed every property in town, got 500 improved and 50 hopeless slums torn down. So help clean up slums and keep up your own home as well. To help keep your community sound, get into Action. Action is a national organization designed to help you protect the well-being of your community. For free information on your particular problem, write to Action, Box 20, Radio City Station, New York 20, New York. Now, back to X-1 and the haunted corpse.
I terminated the interview and went back to headquarters to prepare my situation analysis. Van Pelt, all 300 pounds of him, was waiting for me. He was eating a can of sea ration with a knife.
He's perfectly sane, Colonel, but he's dangerous. Very dangerous. You've got to protect me, absolutely.
Van Pelt, I want the straight dope on Horn. Now, what is this ghost business?
Oh, that. That's just his way of putting it. You see, care to join me in a can of beans?
No, thank you.
Well, there's a difference between a living man and a dead man, and that difference is what Dr. Horn whimsically calls a ghost. Call it life, plus intelligence, plus soul. If there is such a word in your lexicon, Colonel.
You mean his machine conjures up ghosts?
No, Colonel. Dr. Horn is an impossible old vulture, but he's not a faker. Horn can drain the essence of life from a body and store it, or if he wishes, he can replace them in another body. Would you mind handing me the can opener? This looks interesting. Macaroni and beef. Supper ration.
Well, so he had a machine that could take a mind out of one body and put it in another body. Well, why didn't he say so straightforwardly instead of beating around the bush like a civilian? Of course, he was a civilian, which might explain it. Next morning, I went to the laboratory with Corporal McCabe and insisted on a demonstration.
All right, this way, gentlemen.
Please, Corporal McCabe is an enlisted man.
At this pole, we have a Cocker Spaniel. And over here, a Rhode Island Red.
That's a right perky-looking chicken, Doc.
If you will kindly stay clear of the terminal areas, I will activate the field.
What's happening?
The field is vibrating at the cycloid rate set on the crystals. All right, it's ready for discharge. Now.
Well?
Watch. Here, over. Here, boy. Here, boy.
Hey, that ain't no hound. That's the chicken.
I know. Here, over.
Well, I'll be tickled for an eel. That little old chicken is trying to wag its tail.
And over here. Here, chick, 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 chicky. Here, chick, 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 chick.
Well, doggone. I never did see the like of that. A flop-eared, honest-to-Pete dog trying to pet corn.
I had a private conference with the old man later. Under Section K of my security regulations, I moved on my own initiative.
Well, Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Colonel, there is a slight difference.
Well?
Now, can you do this with people?
Indeed I can. But the silly laws covering these things, they won't let me. I've tried. Imagine a simple exchange. A man dying of terminal cancer and a feeble-minded youth. Put the sound mind into the sound body and let the decayed parts rot together. But will they let me? No.
You've never tried the machine on people?
No. But you're here, a military man, Very brave. All I need is a volunteer. That coward Van Pelt refused. That's why he sneaked off to you. But a brave soldier like you...
Negative, sir. Negative.
But, Lieutenant...
Negative, sir. And besides, I am not a lieutenant. I'm a field-grade officer. I don't believe you appreciate the investment the service has made in my training. However, if you need volunteers, the Army has a way of obtaining volunteers, sir. We'll see what we can do. Actually, it was easy. First, there was a boy from Maine awaiting court-martial on an AWOL charge. Second, he volunteered when I pointed out he could get up to a year at hard labor. And then McCabe.
Oh, no, Colonel, sir. I ain't to volunteer in time.
Well, McCabe, I have been asked to recommend a non-com for infantry assignment in the Aleutian Islands.
Infantry?
Yes. Advance Rifle Platoon Scout.
The Aleutians?
In the winter.
Colonel, sir, I beg to report you have found a volunteer, namely I.
Dr. Horn had arranged the terminus of the machine poles to be tapped into metal helmets which were adjusted on the heads of the two men.
This here reminds me of playing left tackle.
Ready, Lieutenant? Ready.
But, Colonel, sir, maybe I better not try this. Well, I mean, I cancel my GI insurance.
The Aleutians?
Yes, sir, Colonel, sir. Well, goodbye.
The test was an anticlimax. It worked. McCabe, that is, McCabe's body, reported himself as Private Ethan Coffin in a broad down-east dialect. I had Horn switch them back, and then I went back to my tent and put through a call. Crash priority.
General Fallon's be on a scrambler circuit, Colonel, sir.
All right. Now leave, McCabe. This is top secret.
They don't never tell me nothing. I swear it's worse than grade school.
Now, General...
Colonel! Colonel!
Van Pelt, what's the idea of barging in? I'm making a top secret
You
call.
didn't let Horn make his test, you didn't.
Now, out, Van Pelt, out.
That's all he's been waiting for. You gotta listen
McCabe,
to me.
you
Colonel!
escort Mr. Van Pelt out. I was floating on a cloud of pure joy. I could see my eagles within my grasp. Maybe even a full star. I told the general my plan. Are you still there, sir? Oh, well, you see, we use the device for intelligence. Suppose someone way up top in their government should visit the United States. We switch him, put our own man in his body, you see? Or in wartime, take a few prisoners and put our men inside their bodies. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can be available for a staff meeting at 0900. Yes, sir. General Windermere. Lieutenant General Windermere. Oh, why not? General of the Armies.
Colonel, sir.
Oh. What is it, McCabe?
That Mr. Van Pelt.
Listen, McCabe, next time I'm on the top secret scrambler to the Pentagon, don't you dare let anybody into the command tent.
No, sir, Colonel, sir. But this here Van Pelt...
I don't want to hear about him. Now let him cool his heels a while.
Well, he ain't. That is, he left.
Good.
But he carried on something frightful. He kept saying Mr. Horn wanted to live forever.
What?
Screwy, ain't it? That's what he said. He said all Horn was waiting on was to make a test on human beings. He said that he's going to grab the first man he runs into and steal his body. I think he is drunk or something.
McCabe, call a condition red alert.
Well, what for?
Don't argue. Oh, never mind. You go up to the laboratory and take Dr. Horn into custody. I'll give the alert. Now move. I could see it all immediately. I grabbed my sidearm and buckled it on. And I threw the switch that signaled a red alert throughout the unit. Just what you'd expect from a selfish civilian like Horn. He'd take an invention like this and use it to steal other people's bodies to prolong his own nearly senile existence in a younger body. And if that happened, there goes my General Star. Because he'd surely smash the machine and we'd never be able to trace him or switch him back, and we wouldn't know which body he stole. I was held up at the inner perimeter for 5 precious minutes while some idiot insisted on a password. I just happened to forget it, although I had issued it in the morning. Luckily, while I was swearing at him, I accidentally hit the right combination and let me through. Van Pelt had gone into the laboratory. I knew that. Probably to try to stop the old man. But the effect would be to supply him with a body. He'd have to swap immediately. He couldn't take the chance of a heart attack. I ran into the laboratory, my sidearm drawn. Horn! Dr. Horn! Tripped over a human body. Still warm. Dr. Horn. His cast-off cocoon. Abandoned. And then in front of me I saw him. Van Pelt!
Too late! Too late!
Now wait, listen. Oh, McCabe, what happened to you? He slugged you, did he?
Too late!
Now wait, don't smash the machine. Van Pelt, I know it's really you, Dr. Horn, and Van Pelt's body. Now put down that gun.
I'll smash it! Smash it!
Stop. Don't wreck the machine. Listen, Dr. Horn, I'll help you. I'll see you get a good, healthy body as long as you want it. Dr. Horn, think of the safety of our country. Think of security.
No, I'm not Doctor.
Who shot that? McCabe, put that pistol away, you fool! Oh, Horn. Dr. Horn, speak to me. Now, I know it's you in Van Pelt's body. Now speak to me, Dr. Horn. Oh, he's dead. McCabe, you simple-minded... Why did you kill him? Oh, everything is gone. My General Star, everything. All right, McCabe, report to your quarters. You'll get a court-martial that'll make your hair curl. I sat there in the rec laboratory and I almost cried. Everything gone, the machine, the brilliant mind that knew its secret. I looked at the corpse of Van Pelt that held the mind of Dr. Horn before that idiot McCabe had put a bullet through the brain and killed both. I could almost feel cheerful as I thought of the court-martial to come. It was at that moment that Sergeant O'Hare came in to tell me that McCabe wanted me on the telephone. I picked it up and waited to hear the miserable rat crawl and plead for mercy.
Colonel, sir, this here's Corporal McCabe.
McCabe, there is no use pleading for mercy. I trust you have managed to find your quarters. You're under arrest.
That's what I thought. I don't think I'll stay for the court-martial, Lieutenant. They bore me.
McCabe, but the voice. Dr. Horn.
Precisely, Lieutenant, precisely. Goodbye now. If a body meet a body coming through the... Goodbye, Lieutenant. Thanks for the body.
Fred Collins again, and I'll have another word about X-1 in a moment.
Have you ever asked yourself what this country's most important natural resource is? I'm Dorothy Olson, NBC Bandstand singing schoolteacher. Our most important resource? Well, you might consider it our mineral deposits, or our tremendous sources of water power, or maybe our great forests. Well, these are all very important natural resources, but there's one resource that's more important than all these combined. Our children. Don't neglect them or their educational facilities. Poor schools breed inadequate citizens for tomorrow. And another thing, keep your youngsters in tip-top shape so that they won't miss important school days. Dress them against the weather so they won't catch needless winter colds. Check their wardrobe as they go back to school this fall to be sure that they have plenty of the right kind of clothing. Remember, our children are this nation's most important natural resource. It's your job to protect their future as they go back to school this fall.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
One and a half miles below the surface of the South Pacific Ocean. 1.5 miles under the water, away from the daylight and the air that's so precious to all of us. That is the position of the stolen Euclidean submarine, in which Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, Jerry Hall, and Joan Gregory are trying to escape from the Magic Island. It would seem that they've done a fair job of escaping, as they're now 500 miles from the strange island. But things are not going along any too well, and Captain Bradford, left in control of the submarine, while Jerry and Joan are resting in the stern section, is admitting to Mrs. Gregory that he doesn't feel very happy about the situation.
I know you have complete confidence in Joan's knowledge of these Euclidean machines, but is it safe to stand still right here?
I think it's a lot safer to stand still than to run a machine I don't know much about, into something I know nothing about.
Well, are we securely anchored?
We are, but it wouldn't matter if we weren't. Have you any idea, Pat, what the pressure is under 9,000 feet of water?
Why, I know it must be enormous, but
You bet it's enormous, and we won't do any drifting, except for some current might move us a little. And Joan reminded us that currents are scarce along here, so we're safe.
9,000 feet below the surface of the sea, and safe?
Joan says so, and she knows.
I wonder.
Wonder?
Yes, wonder if we're not putting too much confidence in all of these Euclidean inventions.
Well, so far they've done everything that was claimed for them. They're perfect as far as I can see.
Is anything made by man ever really perfect?
No, of course not. We've seen enough of these things to know that we're better off with them than we would be without them.
When we're in such a position as this, yes. And what worries me most is that we're always in such a position. That's what makes Euclidia so terrifying and fascinating. It would be almost worth going over to their way of thinking to assure your safety.
Now, Pat, you're incurably romantic. And you're looking at all this as something very wonderful. I warned you when we started on this cruise that there wasn't any such thing as magic. But every time Jerry called that weird colony a magic island, you took it for granted. These scientists aren't magicians, Pat. And they aren't friendly or warm or reasonable. They're hard and bitter and clever and cruel.
How do we know that they are?
What?
How do we know that they're all those things?
They've kept us pretty tightly imprisoned for some time, haven't they?
Have they ever harmed us, though?
Those ray guns?
Oh, those ray guns have done nothing more to any of us than just to put us to sleep.
Even so, I'd just as soon pick out my own times to take a nap.
Oh, of course, Tex. It's a little surprising to drop off to sleep suddenly when someone else wants you to. But what I'm getting at is something larger than that. The real reason behind all the activities of G47 and his scientists.
That's easy enough. They're building up the greatest collection of mechanical and electrical devices the world has ever known. And when they complete their work, they'll simply take the world over.
But might the world not be better off?
Better off?
Yes. If all the nations were controlled equally, it might be a means to prevent war.
Yes, it might. But I'll bet G47 hasn't any such beautiful ideas.
Well, I believe he has.
You think that bunch of scientists have buried themselves out here in the Pacific Ocean to spend their lives thinking up things beneficial to the world?
Well, why not? Scientists have been giving their lives to help the world since histories have been recording their doing.
Yes, I know, Pat, but...
And we haven't any reason to think otherwise of G47 and his men.
You've certainly suffered a change of heart since our first landing on Euclidia.
I've learned a lot about the Euclideans.
So have I, and I don't care much about them.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tex. I didn't mean to start an argument with you. It's just that... Oh, I can't express exactly how I feel.
Well, don't let it worry you. We've been under such a strain for the last few weeks that everything is out of proportion. You'll be able to organize your ideas when we get home.
When we get home. Home. Only a little matter of 3,500 miles, and we're hurrying home by standing still, firmly anchored under 1.5 miles of water.
Well, Joan said it was best to remain anchored for a while, because she and Jerry had to have some rest. And navigating a submarine at this depth is something about which she knows a whole lot more than I do.
Oh, very well. I suppose there's nothing more to do.
And I'll call the youngsters to take over in a few minutes, and then we'll get out of their way and let them handle it.
P12C to J24Y. Johnson to Gregory Boat.
Tex, it's Johnson.
Yes, go ahead.
To Bradford. I've not been able to raise you. Answer if you can hear my signal. J12C to J24Y. J12C at Wilmington to Gregory Boat.
Couldn't we answer him, Tex?
Joan said no.
But the Euclideans have our position anyhow.
We don't know if they have it exactly.
J12C to Bradford. Johnson to Gregory Boat. Waiting for instructions from you before proceeding with plan. Can you hear me?
What does that mean, Tex? Waiting for instructions before proceeding with plan?
It sounds as if it meant that he was waiting to hear from me before compounding the formula and organizing our party to return to Euclidia.
Well, he should know better than that. Johnson doesn't need any instructions from you or anyone else to do the things he will have to do.
Exactly. Then his message means something else entirely.
What else could it mean?
That's what I don't know. Unless... Yes, that might be it.
What, Tex?
Those Euclideans. They have agents all over the world. Johnson may have found that they have someone watching him in Los Angeles.
In that case, they might take the formula away from him.
Yes, and in that case, Johnson would be smart enough to keep the formula hidden and do nothing without hearing from us.
But he may be in danger. Those men mean business.
I thought you were ready to believe they had only good intentions.
Why, I think they mean to use their inventions for good, but I'm even more sure that they wouldn't stop at anything to gain your formula. I wish we could warn Johnson of our position.
Well, it can't be done, Pat, so we'll just have to be patient.
Well, if we can receive his radio messages in safety, how could it do any harm to send him one?
They might learn a lot more on the island by intercepting our messages than they would from Johnson's.
I suppose so.
Have you had a message from Johnson?
Tex, it's Joan. They must be awake.
I'll say we're awake. What's going on there?
Well, suppose you and Joan hurry up forward and we'll tell you.
We will join you in the control section at once.
Perhaps Joan will know how to get a message to Johnson.
Perhaps, or she may agree that we'd better take a chance and send it, even if the Euclideans do hear us.
Boy, I I sure got a lot more sleep on that steel mattress than I expected to get.
How many times have I told you that everything designed by the Euclideans would perform its appointed tasks perfectly?
And how many times have I told you that I'm not so crazy about everything the Euclideans do?
Now, you two forget your argument for a minute and listen to us.
Certainly, Captain.
Okay, Tex. What do you want?
We've just had a message from Johnson.
Yes, and it might be mighty important that we get an answer to him at once.
Hey, this boat isn't moving, is it?
Obviously not.
Well, Tex thought it better to anchor. We were making only 2 or 3 knots.
You were wise, Captain Bradford. We may ride safely at anchor here for an indefinite period.
Okay, never mind about how safe we are. What about Johnson?
He's apparently in some sort of trouble. Or at least we figured that from the unusual wording of his message.
What did he say?
He said he was making no attempt to complete our plans until he heard from us.
And that is not logical?
Far from it. Johnson knows everything to do exactly as we would do it ourselves. And when he seems uncertain, he's got a good reason for it.
Hey, how about sending him a message, Joan?
That depends entirely on Captain Bradford's view of the matter. If this is serious enough to warrant it, we must send the message.
Well, I think it's serious enough to warrant doing anything we have to do.
Then we will send a message to Johnson.
But, Tex, what wavelength did you get his message on?
3 meters. That's the best on our set at home.
J12C to J24Y. If you are getting this, listen carefully, as this may be my last message for some time. Danger threatens original plan.
Danger?
Quiet, Pat.
Radio tampered with. Safety deposit. Formula. Do not come to. Stay away from. John.
Hey, something's wrong.
What happened to the radio?
It was not this radio.
Something happened to Johnson's set. He said danger threatens. Then the set started to cut out. I didn't get the rest of his message.
I thought he started to say stay away from Los Angeles.
Yes, I heard that.
This should be a time for great accuracy. Johnson started to say, do not come to Los Angeles.
Well, that was the idea anyhow. He tried to say something about the formula.
And he mentioned safety deposit. Tex, the formula.
Yes, Pat, it's in a safety deposit box at the bank. But no one will ever get it.
Euclideans will find it comparatively simple to enter any bank in your world and take from it anything they may desire.
Oh, golly. I guess that's right.
Oh, Tex, your formula, they know where it is.
Yeah, I'm afraid they do.
Oh, and they'll get it.
Oh, no, they won't.
They will easily get into your vault at the bank.
Yes, and if they do, they may get their clothes taken off, or worse, for their trouble.
Gee, Tex, how have you got it protected?
Most natural way in the world. I protected the formula with some of the compound.
You've actually placed some of your universal solvent in that vault at the bank?
Right. The bank officials cooperated with me in giving me a small, unused section of an old vault. And the solvent is so located there that any disturbance or opening the vault with anything except the combinations known only to Johnson and myself will bring together the 2 portions of the formula. The universal solvent will be compounded immediately, and flowing over the written formula will destroy it in a fraction of a second.
You are well protected, Captain, and your foresight is admirable.
Oh, you bet. That was a good idea, too.
Then you're not worried about your formula, Tex?
Not much, but I am worried about what they may have done to Johnson in trying to get the formula from him.
Hey, Tex, let's call him on the radio. You know, even if his set's gone bad, it'll help him just to know we heard him and we're on our way to California.
May we, Joan, dear?
The emergency warrants the risk. I will attempt to raise Johnson. He was on 3 meters?
Correct, Joan?
I'm turning all reserve electrical power in the entire boat into this transmitter. You may now reach Johnson with ease, Captain.
I'll try it. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. Bradford to Johnson. Gregory boat to Wilmington. Hello, Johnson. We got your last message. Do nothing until...
J24Y. J12C to J24Y.
Oh, that isn't Johnson.
Gregory Land Station
Sounds
calling
funny to
Gregory
me.
boat. You will answer if you are hearing me, Bradford.
Hey.
Answer at once.
Sounds like one of those Euclideans.
That is one of the most brilliant and most dangerous of all the Euclidean scientists. Thales, the chief electrical authority in the world today.
I am fully aware that you are
how
listening, Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it, Tex. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again, nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
We last saw Jerry Hall, Joan Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Mrs. Gregory anchored in 1.5 miles of water where their stolen Euclidean submarine was apparently quite safe from immediate harm or Euclidean pursuit. Once more, however, the Gregory party has occasion to learn that no one is ever completely safe or free from Euclidia, the magic island. After several vain attempts, they received a message from Johnson, who is in Los Angeles. But Johnson's message was anything but cheerful. Something is threatening the captain's precious formula, and Johnson's message is interrupted by a strange voice.
I am fully aware that you are listening, Captain Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again, nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
The sub's going to fill up with water.
John will be drowned.
All of you remain in your places. We will suffer no damage.
Isn't there something we could be doing, Joan?
Merely remain in your places. I will do everything necessary.
Well, whatever you're going to do it quick. That water looks mighty wet to me.
We are now quite safe. You may rest assured that nothing further will happen to us.
But, Joan, you said that before, and something has certainly just happened to us.
I'll say something's happened, but what was it?
The submarine was shaken by violent shocks, just as it was when those magnetic bombs were released from that Euclidean plane.
Well, no magnetic bomb ever got down to this depth.
You are correct, Captain Bradford. Though the action on this submarine was much the same, we were located by the radio power beam from the island.
The power beam? Why, Joan, you don't mean that those scientists are able to send a burst of destructive power along a radio beam?
They can do everything else.
Then we invited that when we took a chance on answering Johnson's call on the radio.
Precisely.
But if we were not harmed, what is the effect of that beam?
The effect on us is probably negligible, as I was fortunate enough to be able to surround this boat with protection in time to prevent the beam hurting our outer shell to any extent. Though we will find a number of indentations in the metal.
You mean that radio beam thing hit us hard enough to put dents in the side of the submarine?
Precisely.
But, Joan, that would mean that the force of that radio beam was greater than the pressure of this water at a depth of 9,000 feet.
It was considerably greater.
Well, golly whiskers! What kind of protection could you surround the submarine with that would keep that kind of pressure from smashing us?
The protection is made up of the same elements as the destructive power beam. I merely released several of our magnetic bombs on the cross to Euclidia, and the explosion you heard was the meeting of the magnetic bombs and the power beam from Euclidia.
But, Joan, that Euclidean we heard threatening us was in Los Angeles. You say you interrupted that destructive beam coming from Euclidia?
I don't understand that either.
It should be quite obvious.
Well, maybe it should be, but it isn't as far as I'm concerned.
Does it not occur to you that an agent of Euclidia would hardly have the opportunity of setting up apparatus for the transmission of such a beam in the same room in which Johnson was working?
The same room?
Yes, Tex. Joan must be right. We heard Johnson's voice. Then he sounded as if he were in trouble. And then this other voice came over our set. It must have been our set.
Undoubtedly.
But where did that radio beam thing come from?
From Euclidia.
Oh, I'm beginning to see it, Joan. Euclidia was listening in on our two-way radio talk and getting our position logged accurately. Then when that Euclidean in Los Angeles finished his little speech, they turned on the beam from the island.
That would be it, Captain Bradford.
And now every scientist on that magic island knows exactly where we are.
And I suppose they will start moving in on us from all directions.
They will attempt to do that, of course. But we will reach Los Angeles in safety.
But we're losing so much time. And Johnson may be in danger.
No doubt about that, but we couldn't get there in time to help him anyway.
That is true. Mr. Johnson will have to care for his own safety until we arrive. In the meantime, we may make ourselves comfortable.
Comfortable? Swell place for it.
Now, Joan, as you think our best move is to do nothing for a while, perhaps you take this time to give us a little explanation about that Euclidean fellow who managed to get so close to Johnson in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Who is he?
I am sure the voice we heard over Johnson's radio was that of Thales, chief electrical scientist on Euclidia.
Another of those weird names derived from some ancient scientist, I suppose.
To be sure. Thales bears his name in honor of the original Thales, philosopher of ancient Greece. Thales lived 2,600 years ago and was the founder of modern electrical research.
I thought Benjamin Franklin and his kite discovered all that.
Well, I'm afraid Thales lived slightly before Franklin.
Yes, quite a while. So the Euclidean chief electrician is in our country.
It would seem so, Captain Bradford. Thales is powerful, perhaps the most clever man on Euclidia. Many believe him to be superior to G47.
Well, he sure got these electrical rays of his trained. If they'll run along the ocean floor for 600 miles and bump our submarine around.
You appear to have made something of a study of this man, Thales. The original, I mean. Have the Euclideans any proof as to how far he progressed with his studies 2,600 years ago?
Euclideans have made more extensive research than any other mortal men. Thales was credited with discovering the electron, the Greek word given to common frictional or static electricity, though there is no evidence to show that he even dreamed of the electron as we know it today.
I never even met an electron.
You've met a lot of them, Jerry, but maybe you didn't recognize them.
And I'm as much in the dark as Jerry. John knows so many things of which we are ignorant. I can still remember learning in school that Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity.
Your schools must be sadly lacking.
Oh, I don't know. We get along all right. I think it's a lot better to know that Edison invented electric light than to worry about some Greek who rubbed the cat's back to knock out a few sparks before America was discovered.
Thales did not rub a cat's back to get sparks. The earliest experiments were performed with pieces of amber and cloth.
Okay, but what?
And Thomas Edison did not invent or discover the electric light.
He did, too.
Joan, are you sure of what you're saying?
Naturally.
Well, now, let's not get into an argument over it. For all practical purposes, Edison improved the electric light and made it really practical after the invention of the dynamo about 1870. But there undoubtedly were attempts made before that.
I never heard of them.
In the year 1800, the principle of the electric light was discovered by Sir Humphrey Davy, who made a successful arc light with batteries and charcoal. And that was 47 years before Thomas Edison was born.
Oh, I give up. You know too blame much for me.
No, don't feel badly about it, Jerry. Joan apparently knows more than any of us. But we can do nicely in our world without quite so much knowledge.
You mean we will do nicely in our world when we get back to it? But in the meantime, we're very much in Joan's world. Let's give her a free hand in working this thing out.
Is that sensible? What would you suggest, Joan?
For the moment, nothing.
Huh. I could have thought of that.
Nothing is easily thought of, but many people do not know how to do it well.
You're certainly right there, Joan. And one of the worst faults we have is impatience.
A great deal of patience will be needed before we are safely in California. Now, if you will all remain perfectly still, I will open the beam testing devices in the radio receiver one by one, and we may check Euclidean waves without danger.
You mean you will be able to tell if they're still sending out radio impulses from the island?
Precisely. And as it makes it very difficult to observe this with our transmission channel closed, we must all maintain absolute silence while I test the various beams.
I'll keep quiet.
We'll not make a sound until you give us permission, Joan. Go to it.
Very well. Silence.
Hey, my ears! Stop that thing! Stop it!
Jerry, what's the matter with you?
Oh, my ears. My head aches. Gosh, that noise.
I didn't hear anything to make your headache, Jerry. Just one of those carrier waves Joan tuned into.
No, it wasn't. Gee, my head still aches. It's that same note. You remember, Joan?
Yes, Jerry, I remember. But you have forgotten.
What did I forget?
To remain silent. Now our position is definitely established on the island.
Oh, Jerry, they heard you over the radio.
Oh, yeah. I guess they did.
How quickly did you shut off the microphone?
Almost instantly. But Jerry's voice undoubtedly was registered at Euclidia, and probably with Thales on the mainland. Now they will know we have not moved since our last message.
Oh, gee. I'm sure sorry. But I couldn't stand that one sound hammering in my ears.
I don't understand about that, Jerry.
I will explain it in a moment. First, I will refuel and get the submarine in motion. Our progress will be slow, but at least we may change our position a fraction of a minute in latitude. Now I will explain why that seemingly innocent sound should disturb Jerry so badly.
Well, why didn't it bother any of the rest of us?
Oh, that's my keystone note.
Your what, Jerry?
Joan can tell you better than I can.
Jerry and I have neglected to explain one Euclidean experiment we witnessed on our way to this submarine.
You two manage to learn something every time you get lost on that island. All Pat and I saw was a bunch of doors that we couldn't manage.
Well, we got mixed up in them, too. It was when we opened one of them that we heard the old deaf guy practicing music.
A deaf man practicing music?
I will explain it. We accidentally opened the door of the musical laboratory where Octavo was conducting his experiment.
Was that his name, Octavo?
For Octavius, who was credited with arranging the musical scale?
Mother, you knew.
Well, we have learned one or two things, Joan, but go ahead.
Jerry and I stood in the doorway, observing the old man as he tapped on vessels containing varying levels of water, sounding a true note with each. At last, he struck the note to which Jerry's consciousness is tuned. And Jerry had a severe headache.
Yeah, just like I had when that note came out of the radio.
That is being done deliberately?
Well, I'd say so. Same principle as a musical note wrecking a bridge, isn't it, Joan?
Precisely. And while Jerry may be uncomfortable from the effects of his note, I think we have nothing to fear unless they discover the keystone note of this submarine.
Joan, they might find a note which would destroy this boat.
More than that, they are sure to find it. Our only hope is to reach Los Angeles before they succeed.
And if we don't make it in time?
Then a single note of music will end this voyage.
Now, step into the incredible, amazing future as we go exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell, Jr.
The essential character of any frontier you explore is that if you get into it and stick your neck out, you get it lopped off, and there's no help. The frontier is the place where there isn't any reserve, where there isn't anyone to help you if you get into trouble. There is no support. Tonight's story is a story of a true frontier. You know, sometimes the frontier lies just the other side of a doorway. It doesn't seem very different. It can be the difference between life and sudden death. We are in a somewhat different position. We can summon support here. I can push my little push button here and summon our supporters. You know, when we think of that glamorous future, we sometimes tend to forget that things cost money now and things will cost in the future. Let's suppose that there are ships and they are going out between the worlds. They carry emergency supplies for expeditions that may be in trouble on some of the planets that are being explored. But they can't carry an extra lot of them. It costs too much. They carry parachutes, in effect, to drop them as they flash by the world that's in trouble. Little parachutes for space, a plastic bubble with a tiny motor, just enough to lower it down to the planet without destruction. They'd probably use human pilots to do it, too. Because, you know, a human brain is the lightest of all computing devices. It's lighter than an electronic computer. It would be cheaper and wiser to use human pilots to drop these little plastic bubble parachutes of space to a planet in trouble. Let's consider one where there's an expedition that's gotten into medical trouble. The men are sick and they need a serum that they don't have. They've called for help from one of the passing interstellar liners. The liner has stopped for a moment, dropped one of its little space parachutes, and gone on its way, flashing on to some other star somewhere else. And that emergency dispatch ship That little space parachute. The pilot discovers...
Somebody who shouldn't be there is in that supplies closet. The gauge is never wrong. It says there's a living human body inside that closet radiating heat.
Come on out, chum. Open that door, I'll open it. Come on out.
Oh, no.
All right. I give up. Now what?
Sit down.
All right. Well, you still haven't told me. I mean, what happens now? Do I pay a fine or something?
What are you doing here?
Well, I just wanted to see my brother, that's all.
Your brother?
Mm-hmm. He's on Woden. He's with Group 2.
Oh.
I haven't seen him for 10 years, ever since he went there.
What's his name?
Cross. Jerry Cross. Do you know him?
Only his name. I've never met him.
Oh, I was only 8 years old when he left.
What was your original destination aboard the Stardust?
Meteor. I had a job to go to.
You knew you were breaking a rule when you stowed away on this ship?
Oh, I knew I was breaking some kind of regulation.
Is that all it means to you?
Well, I'm
There was a sign posted there. Didn't you see it?
A sign?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the one that said unauthorized personnel keep out?
That's the one.
Oh, well, I guess I saw it.
And ignored it.
Oh, come on. Now, look, don't be so grim.
How did you manage to stow away?
Oh, it was easy. I just saw my chance and acted on impulse. I saw there was plenty of room in that closet, and so here I am.
Yeah, here you are.
Oh, please, don't worry. I'll be a model criminal or prisoner or whatever it is I am now. And I'll pay for my keep, too. And when we get to Woden, well, I'll make myself useful.
Quiet.
Sorry.
You have an identification disc?
Yes?
Give it to me.
Well, my name is Marilyn. Marilyn.
Let me have the disc.
Okay. Will I get it back?
No.
Oh, but
I'm sorry, I need the information on it. I have to put it all in my report.
But when you've got all the information, surely I'll get it back. I need it.
Do you know why I'm flying this ship to Woden?
No.
No idea?
Well, I know the Stardust got a message. I suppose you're taking extra equipment.
I'm taking serum.
Oh.
If I don't get that serum to Woden, 6 men are going to die.
My brother, too?
Not if he's with Group 2. He's 28,000 miles away from all this. On the opposite side of the planet.
Opposite side? Well, then how will I get to see him?
You're not going there. I'm sorry.
Look, I don't understand. You are going to Woden.
Yes.
Well, then if...
But you're not. You're going to leave this ship.
You mean I won't get to see Jerry?
I'm afraid not.
Oh, please.
I told you I'm sorry.
Well, when are you going to do? Radio some other ship to have me take him back?
There are no other ships to radio.
Well, then...
Don't you understand?
No.
You can't stay aboard this ship.
What am I supposed to do? Jump overboard out into space?
You won't have to jump.
What?
You'll be jettisoned. You won't feel a thing. Sometimes the universe seems cruel. I think that's a mistake. It isn't cruel, but it is ruthless. You must learn the lessons. And once you've learned them, you're all right. Unless you forget them. I'm afraid that girl forgot that there were frontiers. That there were places where there was no help.
You are joking.
These are not things you joke about.
Oh, you can't mean all this.
There is nothing anyone can do for you.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I just can't believe you're really serious. But you are. You do mean that you're going to make me die?
It's the way it has to be.
No.
No human being in the universe can help you.
Please, oh, please.
Nobody wants it this way. Nobody would ever let it be this way if it were humanly possible to change it.
I can't believe it.
I told you this ship is carrying fever serum to 6 men on Woden. All 6 will die unless I get there.
I know you told me.
A small ship like this one is provided with barely enough fuel to get to its destination. If you stay aboard, your added weight, once we hit gravity, will cause it to use up all its fuel before we land. That means, in simple terms, you and I will die and 6 other men will die waiting for the serum.
Is that it?
That's it.
Just that? We don't have enough fuel?
Yeah.
So I must die alone or take 7 other men with me.
That's how it stacks up.
And nobody really wants me to die?
Nobody does.
Well, maybe... I mean, are you sure nothing...
Nothing can be done for you.
I just can't believe this is real. Less than an hour ago, I was a passenger on the Stardust. Now I'm on this ship, and I'm going to die. And nobody cares.
That's not true. We all care. It's different out here. It's not like being back on Earth.
I'll never see Mom and Daddy again. I'll never see Jared. I'll never see anything again.
Hasn't your brother ever written to you?
Yes.
What did he talk about?
Things? I mean, well, all the things he was doing and how much he wanted to see us all again.
Didn't he ever tell you about frontier law?
What?
Look, out here we live by a different set of values.
I don't know anything about frontier law.
You ignored a warning. Out here you can only make that mistake just once. Oh, a lot of mistakes have been made. And a lot of men have died making them.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about frontiers. I don't know about fuel or what was going to happen to me. I don't want to die. Why should I have to die? Just because I wanted to see my brother.
What's the use of trying to make her understand? What do I do? Quote the regulation tour, paragraph L, section 8, interstellar regulations, quote, any stowaway discovered aboard an emergency dispatch ship will be immediately upon discovery jettisoned into space, period, end quote. And what good would it do to her anyway? Okay, so H amount of fuel will not power an EDS with a massive M plus X safely to its destination. How could she understand that? Look at her. 18 years old, brown curly hair, blue eyes, weight 110 pounds. And to me, she's just the unwanted factor in a very cold equation.
Crying won't help, will it? I mean, you're going to radio my brother.
If you want me to.
What will you tell him?
Nothing. I'll let you tell him.
Oh. I'm almost afraid to hear his voice. It'll make him sound so near to me. And all the time he'll be so far away. Just a voice. That's all he'll be, just a voice.
I'll call him anyway. All right.
Yes.
Warden, EDS 34G11, emergency. Come in, Woden. Group 2, identify yourselves, please. This is a call for Jerry Cross. Please come in.
Jerry? Jerry, where are you? Jerry, why don't you answer? Jerry, they're going to let me die.
Keep quiet. They're coming on now.
Whatever happens, a man will always try to find some way out, even when he knows it's impossible. He'll still make a try. But sometimes, particularly on the frontiers, you're up against the problem that there isn't any way out. You're up against it.
Wait, I didn't hear.
He said goodbye, little sister.
Oh. I had so much more to talk about.
He knew that.
Was it really him?
It was your brother.
His voice sounded changed.
10 years ago, he was a little more than a boy. Now he's a man. Voice has changed.
Did I sound frightened when I talked to him?
No, you sounded fine.
Oh. How long do I have?
Oh, a little while.
What'll happen to me afterwards, I mean?
Nothing, I guess.
I'll just go on floating in space, is that it?
Something like that.
May I see?
See what?
Out there. Can I see it on the view screen?
Yeah, sure. There.
Well, there's nothing there. There's nothing at all. Well, there's some stars over there. I didn't see them. I was thinking of Mom and Daddy. They don't even know yet I'll never be going back to them, like I promised I would. It's funny, the things you remember. Like the time when I was only 6 years old, and my kitten got run over in the street. And the way Jerry held me in his arms and told me not to cry. And when I woke up in the morning, there she was on my bed, with a brand new white fur coat. Just like Jerry had promised. It was a long time after that when Mama told me Jerry had gone to the pet shop at 4 a.m. He got the man out of bed and told him if he didn't produce a white kitten, somebody's neck was going to be broken. So the man found a white kitten for me.
You'll be gone soon. The little hand on that gauge will go back to 0 and the equation will be balanced again.
Is it time yet?
What?
Is it time yet?
Time?
For me.
Almost.
How will it happen?
You'll go into that compartment. It's an airlock, and that's about all.
Oh, no, it can't be all. You'll do something.
I'll simply push a button.
And I'll be shot out into space.
I told you, you won't feel anything.
Yes, you told me that. I'm very grateful.
You're all right?
I keep thinking everybody has to die sooner or later. It's no worse for me than anyone else, is it? Except most people don't know when it's going to happen, and I do.
You understand I have no power to help you. No power anywhere could help you out here.
All right.
If there was just one... But there isn't.
I know. Jerry understood that.
Yeah. Your brother's quite a guy.
He said everything will be all right. It will, won't it?
Everything, yes.
All right, I'm ready. Tell me what to do.
When I pull this lever, that door will open. Just walk into the chamber.
Please hurry up. Do I walk in now?
Yeah.
It's cold in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It doesn't really matter. Goodbye. You've been awfully kind.
Goodbye, honey.
Please close the door.
Marilyn,
Yes?
there's no hatred, no malice in what I have to do.
I know.
Bye now. EDS 34G11, calling Group 1 on Planet Woden. Come in, please. I'm landing in just 10 minutes.
We have to learn in this world of ours. And some of the things that we learn make us feel that we're real tough and real strong, and boy, we can take it. Next time, we've got a story about a kid who was sure he was tough, a real tough guy. Until he ran up against some people who were in the business of learning things. Sometimes you have to find out such things as whether a man's eyeballs fall out when he's decelerated too suddenly. These men aren't tough. They're just curious.
Join us again next week on both Wednesday and Friday nights when John Campbell returns with more of his fascinating talk and stories while exploring tomorrow. Tonight you heard Mason Adams and Joyce Gordon in our cast. Script was by John Fleming, from a story written by Tom Godwin. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York.
presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. When the Leopard Woman, cunning leader of an Oriental spy ring, gained her freedom by a clever ruse, Major Campbell, chief of the Secret Service, dismissed Clark Kent from further duty. Kent, who had created the plan of letting the Leopard Woman escape from jail so that she might lead them to the spy ring's headquarters, was certain she herself had no idea where her henchmen had moved after abandoning their original hideout. Kent felt the Leopard Woman was waiting somewhere for a message. At the Daily Planet office, Kent found Lois going over some classified ads, one of which, strangely enough, offered a leopard skin for sale. On the slim chance that this was the message, he traced the address of the telephone number given in the ad, and taking Lois with him, made a call on the advertiser, a man named Brower. As we join them, they are standing in the dimly lit second-floor hallway of a waterfront house. Off in the distance, the foghorn of a lightship moans eerily. Kent knocks on the door.
How can anyone live in a place like this?
You'll be surprised. Shh, someone's coming.
Who is it?
Mr. Brower?
Yes?
We've come in reference to that leopard skin you've advertised.
Just a minute.
It's taking him an awfully long time to open that door.
Oh, how do you do?
Come in.
Oh, thank you. My name is Jones. This is Mrs. Jones.
How do you do?
How do you do?
So, you want to buy the leopard skin?
We'd like to see it.
Oh, you want to see it?
Yes.
All right. I got it in the next room. I'll bring it in.
Thank you. Strange bird, isn't he?
Clark, I don't like this. There's something fishy about this place.
It's the salt air blowing in from the ocean.
Oh, don't be funny.
I'm not being funny. This house is practically in the water.
Please, Clark, let's get out of here. I'm getting nervous. If I had... No. Clark, the door behind you.
Yes, Mr. Kent, the door behind you. I'll close it now. There seems to be a draft.
You can put that gun away.
I feel much more comfortable with it in my hand, if you don't mind. Won't you be seated, you and Mrs. Jones? I'm sorry we haven't more comfortable chairs, but there hasn't been time to furnish the house. You understand, I'm sure.
I understand perfectly.
Yes, of course. You're a clever young man, Mr. Kent.
Clark, must he point that gun at us?
Don't worry. I have a very steady hand.
Is she the leopard woman?
Yes, little one. I am the leopard woman.
Well, now that we walked into your parlor, what's the next move?
A very sensible question, Mr. Kent. The next move is mine.
What's it going to be?
I haven't decided yet. Until I do, you will be my guest. Excuse me. Brower?
Yes?
We will have two guests, Brower. Mr. Kent and his charming companion. They have no further interest in a leopard skin, but will spend the night with us.
Down below?
Yes, I should think so. This is an old house, Mr. Kent. In years gone by, it was owned by a sea captain, a slave trader. In the basement, he built a large, well-constructed cell to house his slaves until it was time to ship them to the market. There are no beds, but I have already arranged for mattresses to be placed on the floor.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Don't mention it. You were kind to me in permitting me to escape from that horrible prison. I am only showing my appreciation. Take them down, Brower. You have a gun?
Yes.
The others are on guard?
Yes.
Very good. Au revoir, Mr. Kent. Good night, little one.
Come on, Jones. Grab the missus and I'll show you the nicest leopard skin you ever laid eyes on.
Talk, it's so damp down here.
Don't worry, Lois. We won't be here long.
You keep saying that, but how can we get out? The bars across this cage are an inch thick.
I can get you out any time I want to.
Well, why don't you instead of talking about it? What was that?
Nothing.
I know what it was. It was a rat.
Don't be silly.
Oh, the place is probably full of them. Oh, why did I ever let you get me into this? I'm such a fool.
Lois, please, get a grip on yourself. We're working for the government now. These people are spies, espionage agents. They're a menace to the country's welfare. We've got to stick it out until we learn more about them, how they're operating.
And then what?
Well, then we'll round them up.
Oh, just like that. You'll throw out your chest and walk right through those iron bars. Superman.
I never said I'd walk through the iron bars.
You'll squeeze through them.
Well, now you're being silly.
Well, maybe it sounds silly to you, but I'm cold and damp and... Oh, dear, what's the... Oh, there goes another rat. Won't be long before they decide to come in and sample us. Clark? Clark?
What is it?
Why didn't you answer? I can't see a thing in this pitch blackness. Where are you?
Right here at the bars.
What are you doing?
I'm listening.
Shh. For a moment, Clark Kent steps into the role of Superman, and making use of his amazing sense of hearing, listens in on a conversation emanating from the floor above. A conversation that can be heard by his ears alone.
Have you had time to assemble the radio apparatus?
No.
Well, do that as quickly as possible. We must make contact. When did the last report go out?
The day before yesterday.
Assemble the radio and let me know the moment it is ready.
Okay.
Clark, what are you listening to?
I thought I heard voices.
Rats, that's what you heard. Listen to them like a herd of elephants.
Why don't you try sleeping, Lois?
Go to sleep. Not on your life.
At least you can lie down.
On what?
Here's a mattress.
No, thanks. I want to be as far away from the floor as possible.
Shh, quiet. Someone's coming.
If it's Madam Leopard Woman, just let me...
Quiet, Lois.
I didn't see anyone. Did you?
Yes. A Jap.
You must have cat eyes. How can you see anything in this pitch black darkness?
Maybe it's a gift. He opened what looked like a fuse box and pulled a switch. Can you hear anything?
No.
There's a faint hum. Wait a minute.
Now where are you going?
Just listening. Shh.
What do you expect to hear?
Please, Lois.
Once again, making use of Superman's amazing sense of hearing, Clark Kent picks up the voices of the leopard woman and her henchman Brower.
What report have we on the movement of ships?
Only one report. An oil tanker sailed from here yesterday morning.
Do we know its approximate position?
Yes. 70 miles due east.
How large a ship is it?
9,000 tons.
Flying what flag?
United States.
What is the ship's name?
The Miramar.
Make contact with the U-27. Give her the position of this oil tanker. Use code W on 22 kilocycles.
Right.
Clark.
Just a minute, Lois.
What in heaven's name do you expect to hear?
I've heard plenty. We've got to get out of here in a hurry.
What do you want me to do? Rub Aladdin's lamp and make a wish?
You don't have to do that. I just discovered that a couple of the iron bars are loose. I think I can force them out. At least I can try. Now you listen and tell me if anyone's coming.
Okay. How does it look?
All right. There goes one. It's number 2. I think we can squeeze through now. Come on. All right, now just take it easy. Okay. There.
I'm through. Can you make it?
Yep. There we are.
Now, how do we get out of this basement?
Up those steps. There's a rear door. I noticed it when we were brought down here. Now, be as quiet as you can.
Okay.
Careful. Open the door gently.
We're lucky. The fog's like pea soup. Certainly feels good to get out of that dungeon.
Come on, we haven't time to talk. I've got to put you into a cab.
Where are you going?
Never mind. You get to Major Campbell's office as fast as you can. Tell him about this place. Have him raid the house and round them all up. Now, there's a taxi in front of that diner.
But, Clark...
Do as I say, Lois. Now, here, get in. Municipal building driver, as fast as you can make it.
Clark!
Come along. Now, I've got some work to do. As Superman. There was no mistaking that message the leopard woman sent. It was to a submarine giving the position of an American oil tanker. I've got to get to that tanker before it's torpedoed. 70 miles due east. If I can find it in all this fog, I'm good. Up! Up! And away!
Red cape streaming, Superman vanishes into the heavy fog rolling in from the sea, heading due east in search of the doomed oil tanker. Somewhere in the vastness of the fog-bound ocean, an enemy submarine is preparing to stalk its unknowing prey. Will Superman locate the oil tanker before a deadly torpedo does? Don't miss the next exciting episode. Tune in and follow the story with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
A bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. When Clark Kent came across a classified newspaper advertisement offering a leopard skin for sale, he suspected it was a secret message connected with the Society of the Leopard, an Oriental spy ring. Tracing the address from the telephone number given in the ad, he and Lois Lane called on the advertiser, a man named Brower. Sure enough, they were met by the mysterious leopard woman herself, who, gun in hand, ordered them locked in a basement cell. There, making use of Superman's amazing sense of hearing, Kent listened to the leopard woman issuing orders to contact an enemy submarine by shortwave radio and give it the location of an American oil tanker. In the darkness of the basement cell, Kent, in his true role of Superman, removed 2 iron bars from the door and escaped with Lois. Putting her into a taxi, he instructed her to get to Major Campbell, the Secret Service chief, at once, to tell him to raid the waterfront hideout of the spy ring. And then, as Superman, he flew out over the fog-bound ocean searching for the doomed tanker, hoping to find it before a deadly torpedo added it to the toll of sunken ships. As our story continues today, the tanker, loaded with precious oil and bound for an Allied port, is moving slowly through the dense fog, its horn sounding dismally. And on the bridge, Captain Hanson and his first mate are peering into the gray-shrouded darkness, unaware of the danger lurking ahead.
Never seen it so thick out here this time of the year. Better slow down, Graves. Yes, sir. That's better. Got a man aloft? Yes, sir. Chances are he can't see any more than we can. How are we on course? Dead on, sir. Well, this sloop should lift once we clear Weldon Reef. Bad night for submarines, I'd say. Oh, no. They like thick weather. Gives them a chance to surface without being spotted. I'm not worried about submarines. They're well offshore since the Coast Patrol got after them. The last sinking did the trick. I just don't want to ram a patrol boat or a destroyer. What's that up ahead? I don't see a thing. No, I guess not. On course?
Point off to starboard.
Keep her dead on, Graves. There's a 3-mile drift through here. We don't want to pile up on Weldon Reef. Well, I might as well go below. No use standing up here when I... What was that?
Sounded like wind.
Don't be a fool. Fog doesn't lay low when there's wind.
I don't hear it anymore.
Might have been a whale surfacing. What's happening on deck?
I don't know, sir. I'll see.
Oh, no, you stay here. Watch the course. I'll go down. What's going on here?
Captain Henson?
Yes?
Just a minute, please. I'm the cause of the trouble, Captain. Your men ganged up on me.
He's a Stowaway.
Come on.
All right, Paul. Quiet. What's this about?
I've come to warn you that your ship is in danger of being torpedoed by an enemy submarine.
How do you know?
What difference does it make? I know.
Makes this difference, mister. You're a liar and a stowaway.
Now, wait.
Right down, I tell you.
Look, I know it's hard to believe, Captain, but I'm neither a liar nor a stowaway.
How'd you get on board this ship?
Well, I can't tell you.
Oh, you can't, eh? Well, maybe I can tell you a few things. We're shipping valuable cargo through tough water, and we haven't time to stand around talking. The men were right. Irons is the place for you.
All right, pipe down. I'll handle it. Before you do anything, Captain, I suggest you listen to me. This is a serious matter. A foreign U-boat knows your position. You may be torpedoed at any moment.
How'd you come by all that information?
That isn't important. If you take my advice, you'll change your course.
I'm not in the habit of taking anybody's advice, mister. Not on the deck of my own ship. Benson, Lavelle, take him below.
There. Now do you believe me? That was a shell fired across your bow.
All right, full speed ahead. Stand the boat. Top to it. Don't stand there like fools. Full speed ahead.
Submarine off port bow.
You better stand by the boat, mister. We're carrying a shipload of oil. One of those shells or a torpedo hits us, we're finished.
I don't think you have much to worry about, Captain. But next time, remember to take good advice.
Hey, where are you going? Come back here. Come back.
Sorry, but I have a date with that submarine. As Superman, before it finds the Ranger, blows your ship sky high. Now, this looks like a good jumping-off place. Up, and away!
Leaping over the rail, Superman wings out through the fog, hovers for a moment above the black conning tower of the foreign sub, and then, with a strange smile lighting his face, dives into the water. Coming up underneath the U-boat's sleek stern, he reaches out, and as though they were made of putty, rips off the two slowly turning propellers and lets them sink to the bottom of the ocean. Then, coming to the surface, he sets his muscular shoulder against the steel hull.
Now, my murderous friends, you're taking a ride. A ride you'll never forget, straight into the United States Navy Yard. Here you go.
Daily Planet.
Clark Kent speaking. Connect me with Carmody, editorial room.
One moment, Mr. Kent.
Thank you.
Carmody editorial.
Oh, Bill, this is Clark Kent. Now, get this. It's a scoop.
Go ahead.
The 210-foot foreign submarine U-27 lost its way in the dense fog tonight and sailed into the U.S. naval base with all hands on board.
What?
Now, wait, that's not all. 70 members of the crew and 22 officers were immediately interned. Captain Fritz Gertler, spelled Goettler, commanding the U-boat, was taken to the Office of Naval Intelligence for questioning. He seemed in a dazed condition. That's all for now, Bill. I'll come back to you later.
Kent, that's plenty. Wow, what a story.
Say, is Lois Lane around the office, Bill?
Yeah, hold on.
Where in heaven's name have you been?
Never mind that now. Did you see Major Campbell?
Yes.
Did you tell him to raid that house?
Yes, I told him.
Oh, good. He should have them all behind bars by now.
Oh, I'm afraid he hasn't.
What do you mean?
Practically threw me out of his office.
What?
And he said to tell you to stick to reporting. He'll handle the spies.
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, that's what he said. Where are you?
In a phone booth. I'm going right down to see Campbell.
You better get some shock absorbers. You'll certainly get thrown out, and fast.
Don't you worry about that. I'll see you later, Lois. So long.
For the last time, Kent, stop bothering me. I'm not interested in waterfront houses or leopard skins or any of your fantastic stories.
But, Major Campbell, this isn't a fantastic story. Miss Lane and I were down there. We saw the leopard woman. She locked us in a basement cell.
How did you get out?
Well, a couple of the iron bars were loose on the cell door.
I know. You chewed them in half.
Well,
Or maybe you twisted them into pretzels. Well, why not? You're Superman, aren't you?
Whoever said I was Superman?
Well, you certainly talk big enough. I'm sorry, I've got work to do. Important work.
Please, Major Campbell, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. That waterfront house is the new headquarters of the Leopard Society. They even have a shortwave radio sending apparatus there.
What's the address?
410 Front Street.
And the man's name, the one you mentioned?
Brower.
We'll just check that. O'Hara.
Yes, sir?
Check the phone company and find out whether a man named Brower lives at 410 Front Street. Call me back.
Right.
I don't know why I'm even wasting this much time on you.
You're wasting time, all right, but not on me. We should be down at that house now.
Sure, you like empty houses.
Oh.
You took me to one not so long ago.
Listen, this one isn't empty. I told you it's the Spy Ring's new headquarters. You know, I could go down there myself and round them up, but
Oh, Superman again, eh?
Well, yes, I mean, no, of course not, but...
Yes?
That checks, Major. Richard Brower, 410 Front Street. Phone number is 4857.
Thanks.
Well?
That's the name. And I'm still not convinced.
All right, I'll get the police to make the raid. They'll believe me.
Now, wait a minute. I'll take one more chance, and just one more. How many men do we need?
At least 10. The house should be surrounded so that not one of them can escape.
Well, I know I'm a stupid fool to be doing this, but maybe it'll teach me a lesson. O'Hara?
Yes, sir?
Round up 10 men and meet me downstairs as soon as possible. You'd better give them Tommy guns.
Okay.
Come on. Let's get it over with.
Meanwhile, at the waterfront headquarters of the Spy Ring, all is feverish activity as the leopard woman prepares to vacate the house.
This would not be necessary, except that you are all such fools. Why did not one of you at least know that the bars of the cell could be removed by a child?
That isn't true. We found them bent.
I suppose he bent them with his hands. Put that box over there, Cato. Is that what you mean, Brower?
I don't know how he bent them.
All you know is that they are gone, both of them. And we have to run like rats in the night for fear of being trapped. Come away from that window. We haven't much time. We've got to get out of here.
I'm afraid it's too late.
What do you mean?
Look, down in the street. Men with Tommy guns. They're surrounding the house.
Oh, it has come. I always wondered when it would be.
5 of them are heading for the rear door.
Cato?
Yes?
Bring me that black box. It is heavy. Be careful. Set it down. Here. Gently. Now, attach a fuse to it. You will find them in the leather case on the chair.
What are you going to do?
There is only one honorable defeat, Brower. Death.
Huh?
This box contains explosive enough to blow the house and everyone in it into oblivion.
I hear them coming up the steps.
That is our only consolation. We will take some of them with us into the Valley of the Shadow. Light the fuse, Cato.
Unaware that the leopard woman is about to make a final murderous gesture, Kent, Major Campbell, and 3 Secret Service men mount the steps to the room where a short fuse is sputtering closer and closer to the box of high explosive. Can anything save Major Campbell and his men from destruction? Don't miss the next revealing episode for thrills galore. Tune in and follow the story with the Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
A bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rockin' into the future with Tom Corbett. Face Cadet. Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As rolling rocket of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Three times in the past 14 years, a mysterious form of death striking from space has claimed the lives of solar guardsmen while on Comet Watch patrol in Sector 7. Now, as Captain Powers, the fourth victim of this strange malady, clings to life by a tenuous thread, Captain Strong and Dr. Joan Dale of Space Academy make a startling discovery.
There's no question about it, Joan. We can't brush off this medical report. Captain Powers shows every symptom of acute radiation sickness. Well, he's been exposed to intense gamma radiation.
But, Steve, now the question is, where did the radiation come from?
We've only one possible clue to that, Joan. The last thing Captain Powers saw before he collapsed was a strange asteroid that seemed to be giving off sparks.
Well, that could have been his imagination. He was a very sick man.
His little son, Jody, who was with him at the time, saw the same thing.
Yes, but Jody's just a child with a big imagination. How can you take his word for it?
Well, that's true, Joan. And I would feel the same way you do, but when my boys on the Polaris took over the Comet Watch in Sector 7, they saw it too. No, there can't be any doubt about it, Joan. That strange asteroid that seems to give off sparks is an asteroid of death, and it must be destroyed.
Well, Roger, I just checked the whole ship. And she's all set to go as soon as the skipper comes round.
Yeah, well, I'm not set.
Hey, what are you burning your reactors about?
How does that dumb Venusian Astro rate getting out of this mission?
Don't ask me, Roger. I don't plot the course in this academy.
Astro falls behind in his grades. He gets a chance to dope off, while we have to go back to Sector 7 and look for an asteroid that gives off sparks. Happy 4th of July.
Who do you think you're kidding, Roger? You're just heating your tubes because you missed the kid, Jody Powers.
Me miss him? What do I look like, a nursemaid? That's all I need, a kid around me. Tagging after me all the time, being a pest. I had all I could take of him on the trip back from Comet Watch. Why, I'm glad they sent him home with his aunt.
Go on, Roger, I'm listening. Tell me more.
Oh, go blow your jets. So what if I do miss him? He was a cute little...
Hey, Philip, there's the airlock signal now. The skipper's coming aboard.
If I'd only had a chance to see Jody before he went away, I wouldn't mind so much. He probably thinks I forgot all about him.
All right, boys. Everything ready for blast-off?
Yes, Captain Strong. The ship's been checked from stem to stern.
Good. Dr. Dale is coming along. She's below now, setting up some special equipment. She'll fill in on the radar bridge while you take over on the power deck, Manning.
Aye, aye, sir.
All right, now. Take your stations. We blast off immediately. Control deck to radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge, aye.
What's our position, Joan?
Crossing Mars orbit. Should reach destination shortly.
All right. Patch in your scanner down here and join us on the control deck.
Right, Steve.
Corbett, tell Manning to come up here, too.
All right, sir. Control deck to power deck.
Power deck, aye.
Cut space speed 1/4, Roger, and report up here.
It's about time. This chicken coop is driving me space happy.
Your friend Manning seems to have a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, not really, sir. He misses Jody Powers.
What? Well, that's a great combination. Roger Manning and little Jody.
Well, I can't understand it either, sir. Astro and I made a big fuss over Jody when we had him on Comet Watch, but he ignored us. Roger brushed him off, and the kid followed him around like a little puppy. They became great pals.
Radar bridge is secure, Steve.
Oh, good. Well, Joan, say, you look a little tired.
No, not tired. Just a little nervous.
Cap Manning reporting. Stand easy, Manning. I just want to get everything organized. We're nearing our goal. I don't know whether we're going to find that meteor, but we're going to comb every inch of space in this orbit. I'm setting up a continuous heel and toe watch. Everyone will be in for long stretches of duty.
Sir, you really think that floating spark plug was the cause of Captain Powers' illness?
I'm positive, but we still have to prove it. Now, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Dr. Dale and I will take the first watch. You two are relieved for the next 2 hours.
All right, sir. Now, come on, Roger. Let's hit the sack.
Oh, brother, that bunk looks awfully good to me. Call me at noon, Manning.
And draw me a hot tub when I get up.
Don't worry, pal. According to the skipper, this tub will be plenty hot when we get near that asteroid.
You better sack in, Roger. You're going to be glued to that scanner for hours.
Who's tired? I think this is a wild goose chase anyway. That blasted meteor isn't hanging around just for us to come back and take a pot shot at it.
Well, the only thing we can do is try.
Hey, who was in my locker? I thought I told you to keep out of it, Tom.
What are you blasting about? I wasn't even near it.
No, then why's the door open? If you've messed things up, Hey, jumping Jupiter. Tom, come here, quick.
What is it, Roger?
Look, we've got a stowaway aboard.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spaceman, how would you like to have a cutout collection showing pictures of all your favorite Space Cadets? Well, that collection is waiting for you right now down at the grocery store. On the back of every regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep, you'll find an exciting picture cutout of one of your favorite Space Cadets. There's a picture of Astro, Tom Corbett, Roger Manning, and Dr. Joan Dale. You want to have the whole set, so don't waste any time starting. Get a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep just as soon as you can. See these exciting full-length pictures. They're not just drawings, you know. Each cutout is an actual picture, and each cutout shows one of the Space Cadets in his official Space Cadet uniform. Now, the pictures are swell for cutting out, framing, and hanging on the wall. Or you can paste them in a Space Cadet scrapbook. There are loads of things you can do with Space Cadet cutouts, so don't wait another day. Go to your favorite grocery store and get a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Right on the back of the package, you'll see the Space Cadet cutout. But remember now, to get your picture cutout, just be sure you get the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Captain Strong, Dr. Dale, and the crew of the Polaris rocket through space in a desperate search for the strange asteroid that has caused the deaths of 3 Solar Guard officers. Tom and Roger discover a stowaway aboard ship. Now, on the control deck, Captain Strong watches Dr. Dale anxiously.
What's the matter, Joan? You've been sitting in that chair watching that scanner without saying a word. Now, what's on your mind?
A lot of things, Steve. Especially that asteroid. I just don't know what to make of it. If it really is the cause of the trouble, it must be radioactive.
Well, that's no problem. We'll find it and destroy it.
Well, it isn't as simple as all that, Steve. For one thing, it's dangerous. But that isn't what's bothering me. Just what is this asteroid, and what makes it so different?
Captain Strong.
Well, up so soon, Corbett?
Well, we couldn't sleep, sir. We have a little problem.
One more problem shouldn't make any difference. What's yours?
Well, this one came up rather unexpectedly, sir.
Well, out with it.
Sir, we have a stowaway.
A stowaway?
Yes, sir. Bring him in, Roger.
Okay, Tom.
Here he is, sir.
Jody Powers.
Great galaxy, where did you find it? In my locker, sir, fast asleep. He's been there all the time.
Well, that's just fine. Jody, you put us in a bad spot. Why did you do it?
I don't know, sir. I just didn't want to go home. I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
Well, this sure throws a monkey wrench into our plans.
Why, sir? He's no trouble. I'll see to it that he keeps out of the way.
This isn't a pleasure cruise, Manning. We have work to do. Dangerous work, and we can't be worrying about a child. Well, I'll have to notify the Academy. They'll order us back for sure.
Can't we just forget about notifying the Academy, sir?
Absolutely not. We can't take the chance. Jody must be taken back.
Steve, the space brought warning.
Switch on the scanner, quick.
Pretty good-sized blitz, sir.
Corbett, pick this up on a magnetoscope.
Aye, sir. There it is, sir.
It isn't too clear. Can you get it sharper, Corbett?
Raise it to maximum magnipower.
Something. Saturn, look, sir.
Well, we can forget about taking Jody back now. He's in this with the rest of us.
Sparkling asteroid.
No doubt about it, sir. There's our space firecracker. Once you've seen it, you can't forget it. What a lucky break. That floating spark plug must have been out looking for it.
Well, now the question is, what are we going to do about Jody?
Oh, don't worry, sir. I'll take care of him.
We'll need every hand on deck. Take him into the bunk room and see that he stays there.
Yes, sir. Come on, Jody.
I hope you're not mad at me, Roger.
Of course not, Jody. I'm glad to have you aboard.
Well, Joan, what do you make of the asteroid?
I don't know, Steve. I've never seen anything like it. We'll have to move in much closer before I'll know what it's all about.
Jody secure, sir. We promised to stay in there.
Thanks, Manning. All right, cadets. We'll get as close to the meteor as we can. Dr. Dale will watch for any increase of radioactivity in the ship so that you can prepare for it. But break out your spacesuits and have them ready.
Why, sir? Are we going outside the ship?
Who knows? We don't know what we're up against, so we'll be prepared for anything. But one more thing. I don't want any unnecessary chances. Just try and remember how Captain Powers looked when we found him. Now, take your stations. Manning, below. Corbett, radar bridge.
Aye, sir.
Right, Captain.
All right, I'm ready, Steve. Move in as slowly as you can while I take my readings.
Right, Joan. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Power deck, aye.
We're going to swing into a parallel orbit with the asteroid. Then 1/2 space speed until we're abreast of it.
Aye, sir.
Control deck to radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge, aye.
Set course for parallel orbit. And don't make it too tight.
Right, sir.
I don't understand it, Steve. These gauges have hardly moved. At this distance, there isn't enough radioactivity to hurt a flea.
You'll be in closer soon, Joan. You'll get all the radioactivity you're looking for then.
We're at asteroid level, sir. Ready to swing into parallel orbit. 10 degrees right, touch at 5.6 will do it.
Got it, Corbett. Manning, steering vane set. Give us a short blast.
Here it comes, sir. Firing short blast.
Good. All right, Corbett. Keep our orbits locked until further notice.
Hey, Captain Strong. I think this is all a false alarm. I don't feel a thing.
Now, maybe it's because you're so thick-skinned, Manning. Just follow orders and keep your opinions to yourself.
Aye, aye, sir.
Steve, I don't understand this. We're much closer now, and still all I get is just a slight increase in gamma ray activity. Nothing like what I expected to find.
What do you make of it?
Well, if this is all the radiation we're going to get from that asteroid, we'll have to find another reason for Captain Tower's illness.
Well, then we're right back where we started from. We may as well give up and head back to Earth.
Wait, Steve, there's another thing I don't understand. Those flashes on the surface, those sparks. I keep wondering about the composition of that asteroid.
Oh, well, there's only one way to find out. I'll go over and get a piece of it. That'll answer all your questions.
I hope it will, Steve, but I still can't help feeling there's something terribly wrong.
Come now, Joan. I'll hop over there in the jet boat and get your sample. You can take it back to your laboratory and examine it. Hello, Corbett.
Right, sir.
Take over on the control deck with Dr. Dale. I'm going over to the asteroid with Roger.
Right, sir.
Steve, promise me you'll be careful.
Oh, but, Joan, there's nothing to worry about. You said there wasn't enough radiation to harm a flea.
I know, but something about that asteroid rings a warning bell in my mind. I just don't know what it is, and I just can't help feeling there's danger out there. Terrible danger.
Got the jet boat wide open, sir. We ought to reach the asteroid in 5 minutes.
And we'll circle it first. Make sure it's safe to land.
The thing looks harmless enough.
Yes, but I wish I knew what causes that sparkling effect. Take that, will you, Manning?
Aye, sir. Manning here.
Manning, this is Dr. Neal. Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine, ma'am. It's a little quiet out here. Not much traffic.
Well, keep calling in regularly, please.
Let me talk to her, Manning. Hello, Joan.
Yes, Steve.
I stopped worrying. Everything's under control. Well, there's not a thing to worry about.
The jet boat is circling the asteroid, Dr. Dale. Everything looks okay.
Hold them again, Tom.
Oh, ma'am, we just spoke to them a couple of minutes ago.
I know, but I'll feel better if we maintain contact.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, jet boat. Come in.
What do you want now, Junior? Why'd you stop bothering us?
Just checking, Roger. Hey, can you clear up your transmission? We're getting a lot of noise.
What'd you say?
A lot of interference. Keep that channel open, Corbett. Maintain radio contact.
Roger, can you hear me? Roger. Dr. Dale, I've lost them. It's impossible to get through that interference. Come in, Polaris. Tom, come in. No use, Captain Strong. We can't get through that static.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're almost ready to land on the asteroid anyway. Ships are heading 2 degrees down, and we'll hit the bullseye.
No use, ma'am. I can't get through to the jet boat. That hatch is too heavy.
And they're getting closer to the asteroid every second.
Jody.
Oh, you poor child. We forgot all about you.
It's awful lonesome in there. Can I stay here with you?
Of course you may, Jody.
Where's Roger? He said he'd be back to see me.
Jody, if you look through that viewport, you can see Roger and Captain Strong in that jet boat.
Right there, Jody. See them?
Jumping Jupiter.
What's the matter?
That's the same asteroid I was watching with Dad before he got sick.
How do you know, Jody?
So fuck. I told Dad they reminded me of a bunch of lightning bugs. Hey,
We never thought of questioning Jody before, and he was an eyewitness all the time. Jody, do you remember anything else?
Well, I went to bed, and Dad kept watching me. He came in later, and he was very excited. He told me I missed a wonderful show. There was a big explosion on the asteroid.
An explosion?
Yes. Then he went back to watch it some more. Next morning, he was very sick.
An explosion that caused Captain Power's radiation sickness. That could only be an atomic... Yes, of course, that's the answer. Tom, we've got to get them back right away.
But why, Dr. Dale?
I haven't time to go into details. That asteroid is made of contraterrene matter.
Contraterrene? What's that?
Listen carefully and try to understand. All substance in space bears a positive electronic charge. Occasionally, we need a free piece of matter which is negatively charged. That kind of substance is contraterrene.
Great galaxy, I'm beginning to get it. If positive matter touches negative matter, an atomic explosion.
Yes, every spark you see out there is a minute particle of space debris hitting that contraterene asteroid. And if that jet boat ever touches the asteroid, Captain Strong and Roger will be blown to bits.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spacemen, stand by for an important message from Tom Corbett. Before Tom started out on his latest mission, he made a special teleceiver recording of some things he wanted to tell all spacemen about Kellogg's Pep. So, take it away, message control.
Cadet Corbett speaking. I just want to tell you all how important it is to eat Kellogg's Pep. First of all, when you eat Kellogg's Pep for breakfast, you don't have to worry about getting enough vitamin D. There's a whole day's supply in every serving of Kellogg's Pep. And besides vitamin D, you get vitamin B1. And you know that's essential. And because Kellogg's Pep is whole wheat, you get many other necessary food values that help you build strong bones and muscles. When you put all that together, it means Pep gives you more build-up food values than any other wheat blend. And just to top it off, Pep rates #1 for flavor in mess halls all over the solar system, as well as right here at Space Academy. So take a tip from me, spacemen. Start your day with Kellogg's Pep.
Hear that, spacemen? And it's just like Tom Corbett says, for vitamin D and vitamin B1. For build-up food values and for that whole wheat and malt flavor, get Kellogg's Pep. Remember, there's an exciting Space Cadet picture cutout right on the back of every package of the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Captain Strong and Roger Manning near the mysterious sparkling asteroid in the jet boat, Dr. Dale, waiting aboard the Polaris, fearfully watches their approach, realizing that as they rocket toward it, they are hurtling towards their doom.
If that jet boat ever touches the asteroid, Captain Strong and Manning will be nothing but radioactive dust.
Well, they're almost there, Dr. Dale.
Tom, try reaching them again. You've got to contact them.
Manning! Captain Strong! Come in, Manning! Oh, it's no use, Dr. Dale. We're not getting through.
But we must.
There's only one chance, Dr. Dale. If I can intercept them with a Polaris.
What?
I'll try to guide the ship between them and the asteroid before they reach it.
Tom, can you do it? It'll be like threading a needle.
Well, here's where Corbett becomes a space seamstress. Fasten Jody down, Dr. Dale, and hold tight.
Closing in on the asteroid, sir. We're no more than 5 miles away. At 10,000 feet, cut your relative speed down to 10 foot-seconds. From there, we'll brake by eye. Now that I've got a close look, I think we've been cruising in the wrong orbit. That asteroid looks pretty harmless to me. I wouldn't be surprised. Have you been able to raise the Polaris? No, sir. Too much static. Say, wait a minute, Skipper. Doesn't that look as if the Polaris is coming toward us? That's just an illusion, Roger. Movement and distance are very deceptive in space. They have no reason to be moving toward us. Keep going.
Faster, Tom, faster. They're getting dangerously close to that asteroid.
We're at full space speed now, ma'am.
Tom, you'll never make it. There isn't room. We'll either hit the jet boat or the asteroid and we'll all be blown up.
We can't stop now, Dr. Dale. We've got to go through with it.
Stand by to cut the motor, Roger. We'll drift in. All right. Cut it.
Right, sir. Captain Strong, look. Look over there. The Polaris is bearing down on us.
What in blazes is Corbett trying to do? Run us down? Full power, Manning. Get out of their way. Swing around.
Okay, sir. Keep your fingers crossed.
Jupiter. I never thought I'd see the inside of the Polaris again.
Oh, Steve, it was so close, but Tom had to do it.
Yeah, but have you any idea what it looks like to have a mountain of steel bearing down on you?
We were very lucky, all of us.
And it was little Jody who gave us the clue that made me realize our asteroid of death was contra terrene.
Well, where do we go from here, Dr. Dale? What do we do about it?
Now that we know the asteroid is made up of negative matter, it'll be a simple thing to destroy it. By pushing an equal amount of positive matter against it, will blow itself up.
Good idea, John.
You know, Roger, I never thought I'd be so glad to see that ugly face of yours again. Yeah, it'll take more than a contra-terrene asteroid to get rid of me. And by the way, where'd you ever learn to pilot a spaceship?
Roger, are you all right?
Oh, sure thing, Jody. Nothing can KO your Uncle Roger. Uncle? Oh, brother.
And there's the real hero. If anyone deserves the Spaceman Medal of Honor, it's our little Stowaway.
He certainly does. Cadet Jody Powers, attention.
Yes, sir.
The crew of the Polaris salutes you. Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris is given a 10-day leave, and the trip to Venus becomes a holiday of terror. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Edward Bryce, Margaret Garland, and Sarah Fussell. Today's program was written by Jack Weinstock and Willie Gilbert, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
This program has come to you from New
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Running from an unseen enemy, frightened and alone, living from day to day, while your pursuer, unrelenting and murderous, is gaining on you, ready to trap you in a place from which there is no escape.
Listen now as Escape brings you Charles Smith's exciting story, The Faraway Island.
Time is the important thing. If you don't know it now, you will when you've reached the 50 mark. That's why the money was so important. It would give me time. With it, I could return to a life I had lived 6 years before, during the war, on the island of Amoka. The tropical sun streamed into my room, making it impossible for me to sleep any longer. The morning breeze carried the heavy odor of rotten fish, and just outside I could hear the goats and chickens. This was Papeete. I'd been there 5 weeks, waiting, making sure I'd lost the man who had followed me from Boston. And now I was sure I had lost him, and in 2 days I would sail for Amoka.
Get up, you promised to buy me breakfast.
Don't let Mama Tita find you here.
Oh, she knows I'm here. She told me where you were, and she said I might wake you.
Give me a cigarette.
How do you feel?
Terrible.
Hey. We shall have breakfast at Quinn's. And you can tell me more about your island.
My island?
Oui, you called it your island.
I drink too much. Never listen to a man when he's under the influence. What else did I tell you last night?
Oh, you talked of your son. How proud you are of him. It was all very boring.
I'm sure. What else?
Oh, nothing. It is going to be a lovely day.
What else, Anise?
You are in love.
Sure I am. With you?
No.
What makes you so sure?
You mentioned her name last night. It was enough. Just hearing the way you say her name.
Look, you'd know about these things. Is it possible for a man to love a woman he hasn't seen in 6 years?
If he has not seen her, he has had no reason to stop loving her. Now, you get dressed. I'm hungry.
I watched her leave the room, and in watching, compared her to Mueva of Amoka, the Mueva of 6 years ago. It was an unfair comparison. I swung my legs over the side of the bed, stood up, and half an hour later I was stirring my second cup of coffee.
You said last night that you were going to leave Tahiti soon. Is that true, Adam?
Yes, I've waited here long enough.
I do not understand why you waited at all. If I love someone, I do not wait for anything. If I want to go someplace...
More coffee, Anise?
No, thank you. Adam, I will miss you very much. Could you take me to this island with you?
What?
I would be no trouble, even if you do not love me. We could be friends.
No, Anise. You'd find the island very dull. And after a while, you'd find me pretty dull, too.
Oh, please, Adam.
Mr. Adam? Mr. Adam.
Good morning, Joe.
Oh, I have been looking every place for you. The hotel, the docks, every place.
Oh, what is it now? Mama Tita worried? She sent you to collect her bill?
You're American. Well, you think of his money. Sometimes there are more precious things.
Like what?
Like a man's freedom.
All right, you skinny little rat talk.
Oh, put him down, Adam. You are talking him.
Put me down, please. Put me down.
When you talk.
All right. All right, I talk. I was not going to take money for this, but now...
Here.
All right. This morning, early, a ship docked. It has been taking on copra from the islands north of here.
Go on.
I was there at the docks, and...
Keep talking.
This man, this American. I heard him asking questions. Where could he find the American who came here from Tonga River 6 weeks ago?
What makes you so sure he was looking for me?
The man he is seeking is tall. Very tall and very big. And he is about 50 years old.
What did you tell him?
Nothing, monsieur. I was sure you would appreciate it if I told him nothing.
Anise, you still want to go out to that island?
Oui.
There's a ship leaving today for Rarotonga. We'll be on it. The Gildan sat low in the water, its belly full of canned goods for the island. According to the shipping notice, it would sail at high tide. I made arrangements with the captain.
Well, it is a very unusual request, Meteor.
Hamish, Adam Hamish.
Meteor Hamish, what you are asking me to do. Such a waste.
It's my money.
Well, I was not referring to the money. But very well. I will do it.
Good. What time do we pass Moorea, Captain?
It will be close to midnight.
You understand the girl is not to know?
Yeah, I understand. I do not approve, but I understand.
An hour later, we weighed anchor, and I saw Joe on the dock. He grinned at me and then scurried away, anxious to report back to the man who had hired him and get a few francs for the information that I had sailed with Anise for Rarotonga. Then the night came bright and clear, and it wasn't long before the great shadow that is Moorea Island appeared off our port bow.
Stop all engines. Are you ready, Meteor?
Yes.
Over here. You have not told the girl?
No.
That is wrong. I hope someday she meets you again.
Maybe she will. Take care of her. See that she gets back safely, will you?
You will have to hurry. We are too close to shore.
Adam?
Now, Meteor, get in.
Roll away.
Adam, where are you going? Adam, wait! Take me with you! Adam, take me, please! Adam!
2 weeks later, I boarded the only schooner that services Amoka. 5 days out, we put in at another island to pick up a passenger. Then we put out to sea again. I was sitting on deck watching the porpoises race along the side.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Mind if I join you?
No.
I owe you an apology, you know.
Huh?
I've been staring at you. I hope you didn't notice.
No.
Tell me, is your name Hamish? Adam Hamish?
Yes?
I thought so. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Crawford, J.C.W. Crawford, Copper, Government Control. I was sure you were Hamish. This chap in Papeete last week described you so perfectly.
Last week in Papeete?
Yes, I flew down to catch the schooner.
This fellow, what did he look like?
Oh, an American chap. Decent sort. Somehow I got the impression he'd just flown in from Rarotonga. I remember he said he'd been off on a wild goose chase looking for you.
The ships that sail the southern waters usually carry a well-stocked armory. The skipper of this one liked rifles, liked them so much that he wouldn't part with one for less than $300. But for my purpose, it was worth the price.
Good shooting. You hit him right forward to the dorsal fin.
There's another over there. Care to have a try?
No, thanks. I'm a rotten shot. Captain says we'll be landing tomorrow. You intend staying on Amoka?
Yes, I do.
Good. I'll have someone to talk to when I come by every couple of months. Have you been there since the war?
No, not since 44.
I hope you won't be disappointed.
You know, when you Americans left, it seemed to take the heart out of the people.
Have you ever lived on the island?
Only for a bit in 1949 it was.
Did you ever know a woman called Maeva?
No. Can't say that I did. Native woman?
Uh-huh.
Oh. I see.
Let me tell you about Amoka. The maps say it's an atoll, 12 miles long, surrounded by coral reef, with a passage through the reef to the deep harbor inside. But it's more than that. It's a state of mind. It's peace and contentment. That is what I remembered.
You have come back, Captain Hamish.
Yes.
This house will be as your own until my people have made your house ready.
Thank you, Amano.
You will find many changes, Tane. We are older.
All of us are older. Amano, where will I find Moeva?
She is dead, Tane.
Dead? Maeva?
Yes, Tane. She died a little while after you left the island.
They had buried her on a hill overlooking the bay. I stood for a long time looking at the ground in which she was lying, and in that place the memory of her was sharp and clear, but it was only a memory. Those first days I walked around the island, it wasn't the same. With Maeve, I'd never noticed the flies, the heat, and the quick torrents of rain. But the people hadn't changed. They still walked with an unmatched dignity, and I was glad to be home. 8 weeks later, a schooner sailed through the passage in the reef. Through my binoculars, I could see Crawford on the deck, and standing beside him was a taller man. He tired of running.
Captain Hamish?
Yes, I see it.
You will go to the dock, Tane?
No, I will wait in my house. Tell your people that if anyone should ask for me, I will be here in my house.
Yes, Tane.
I dropped the thin bamboo, sat down, the rifle crooked across my arm. I watched and I waited until the tall stranger started walking slowly up the beach toward me. When he reached the whitewashed stones that marked the beginning of my land, I raised the rifle to my shoulder. My finger slid across the trigger, and then I saw his face. This man who had followed me across half the world was my own son.
We will return to Escape in just a moment. But first, all Americans, men and women from teenage up, are urged to enroll for Ground Observer Corps service in every locality. You are needed immediately, and the job to be filled is an important one. Write or telephone your nearest Civil Defense Center, or write to Ground Observer Corps, Air Force, Washington 25, D.C. That's your own Civil Defense Center, or Ground Observer Corps, Air Force, Washington 25, D.C. And now, back to Escape.
I sat there watching as my son slowly made his way up the path to my house. Then I went to the door, the rifle still crooked across my arm. You're a fool! I could have killed you easily.
You still can't. Do it now. You'll never get another chance. Well, what are you waiting for?
Paul!
You know why I'm here. Take you back.
You're ready. We'll leave now. If not, you better use that rifle. What's it going to be?
I'm staying here, Paul.
Are you sure?
fought silently as men do who are convinced their cause is right. He was taller than I remembered and heavier, but he lived too much in the city. It didn't last long. I took some rope and bound his arms and legs, and then I threw a cup of water in his face. Come on, snap out of it. You're not hurt.
Well. Oh. Not taking any chances, are you?
No.
Think the schooner will leave without me?
Yes. We might as well make the best of this, Paul. We're going to be stuck here together for 2 months.
On time?
I will. After the schooner has cleared the harbor. It started to rain. For a long time, he didn't say anything. He just sat there staring at me, filled with hate. Then...
How much of the money do you still have?
About $2,200.
That's beautiful.
It's my funeral.
Sure, your funeral. You embezzled $10,000. You say it's your funeral. Everything's fine.
You shouldn't have come after me, Paul.
I didn't want to. I tried to forget I had a father. And I would have if the police and the company, our friends, would have let me.
I'm sorry.
You never thought about what would happen to me, did you? That I couldn't get a job in town anymore the way people looked at me because you weren't there to look at.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Who sent you after me? The bonding company?
Nobody sent me. It was my own idea. I want to drag you back so I can live my own life again, not share yours. What made you do it? Why did you do it?
You wouldn't understand even if I told you.
Why not?
Because you're too young. I cut him loose that night, and the next morning I showed him around the island. He walked among the people of Amoka. He watched the palms swaying in the gentle breeze. He looked at the beauty of the island, but he didn't really see any of it.
Here. The spot here. They should do it.
Should do what? What are you talking about?
A spot of ground. Not too far from the village. It's clear of brush. I can build my house here.
Your house?
You didn't think I'd stay with you.
I guess not. In a few more minutes, we'd reached the copra grove, and we're standing before the kiln that's used to bake the meat from the shell of the coconuts.
Well?
You'll work here in the grove. You can have your choice of jobs. Planting the young trees, packing the copra for shipping, or keeping the grove clean. Take your pick.
Suppose I'd rather not work.
Then you won't eat. Amano!
Yes, Tommy?
This is my son, Amano. He used to work in the grove.
Yes, Tommy.
He'll start tomorrow, but today I want him to enjoy himself. I'd like it if one of your sons would take him fishing.
Yes, Tommy. But if he does not wish to go?
Well?
I've heard stories about the fishing down here. I'll go.
Good.
How do I call you, young captain?
Paul. My name is Paul.
Whiskey?
Yeah, please.
Here.
Thanks.
Amano tells me you hooked into some tuna.
Starting to run.
You said you're quite a fisherman. I didn't know that.
There's a lot you don't know about me.
We never had much of a chance to get acquainted, did we? Between the war and then when I came home, not much of a chance.
No, not much.
Have you decided about your work on the Grove? What you want to do?
Amano said that apprentices start by keeping the grove clear of weeds. I'll do that.
His hands were raw on bleeding when he came in from the grove that first day. But by the end of the second week, his hands and his body toughened. And then he left the hut the chief had let him use. He'd completed his own. We didn't see much of each other after that. And then, the night of the Kai to celebrate the great catch of tuna.
Your son is well liked by my people, Hamish Tane.
Well, thank you, Romano.
He has done well in the grove. They have made him planter of the young trees.
I saw him working among the trees yesterday.
Do not worry about his feelings toward you. His head is not clear. He is young.
Has he mentioned leaving the island?
He counts the days. He says you will both leave when the ship sails. Tane, look there.
I looked and saw Paul standing beside a beautiful girl. She was wearing a frangipani blossom behind her right ear. They talked earnestly for a moment, and then she laughed and he laughed. I saw the girl the next day. The blossom was behind her left ear. The days and weeks passed. And then there was only a week left before the schooner would return.
Hamish Tane. Wake up, Hamish Tane.
Huh? What is it?
The copra, the grove, insects, Tane. Many, many insects that will destroy the grove.
Come on! There are 100 things that can happen to a grove of young trees, and the worst of them is the invasion of these tiny, vicious termites. No one knows where they come from. They appear suddenly and without warning, and there's only one thing to do. You burn the young trees that are infected.
And here, Tane, this one.
Bring that kerosene over here. Here, give me that. All right, get back, Amano.
What are you doing? He's crazy. Over here, Tane.
Why are you doing it? Stop it.
Hurry, Tane.
Bring the kerosene, Paul.
No, I won't let you do it. I won't let you burn the grove.
Tane.
Get out of my way.
I said no.
I opened my eyes to see Paul and Amano standing over me. I got up and looked at the grove, what remained of it, and quickly turned my head away.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand. I thought you wanted to destroy it.
It's all right. Forget it.
What do we do about the grove? People have worked so hard, they'll have to start over now.
Yes.
Well, come on. I'll take you to your house.
I stayed close to the house for the rest of the week. I was tired, and I'd made up my mind what I wanted to do. Then the schooner sailed through the reef. I packed my things and went down to the dock. I knew Paul would be waiting to take me back.
You came down early.
Yes. Aren't you ready? Where's your bag?
I'm not going.
What?
I'm staying here. I decided to marry Althea.
You've given this some thought. You're sure?
Yes, sir. Look, I don't know if this will help, but once you told me I was too young to understand why you had to come back here, even if you had to steal to do it. Well, I understand now. And if you want to stay...
No, I want to go back. Set things right.
Look, you don't have to.
I know.
You remember that we're here, waiting for you?
I remember.
We'll keep your house ready. You won't be away too long. You'll come back, Dad.
went aboard the schooner and watched as he walked back toward the village. At the end of the pier, a slim figure joined him. They crossed the beach and went out of sight into the ponds. The girl, Latia, and my son, Paul.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Faraway Island by Charles Smith, starring Ted DeCorsia as Adam. Featured in the cast were Anthony Barrett, Edgar Beria, Marion Richmond, Vic Perrin, Jack Crucian, and Richard Peel. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week...
You are alone with a murderer, a man who has killed your brother, and against whom you have sworn revenge. While unknown to you, your enemy is plotting his own move, which, if it succeeds, will mean defeat for you, and an end from which there is no escape.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Peter B. Kine's exciting story, 1/8 Apache. Lovely Dorothy McGuire, star of Broadway and Hollywood, will be heard on CBS Radio tomorrow evening in a dramatic story entitled The Fall of Maggie Phillips. It's another in your Lux Summer Theater series, so be listening for it tomorrow night on most of these same stations. The Fall of Maggie Phillips, starring Dorothy McGuire. This is George Walsh speaking. And remember, for suspense all summer, hear Crime Classics Monday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars present Space Patrol. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have just rescued two men from a damaged space freighter. Right now, in their spacesuits, they're helping the two men through the airlock into the Space Patrol ship.
Close the hatch, Hap. Yes, sir. We can raise our face pieces now.
The cadet will take you back aft, man. Thanks. I've got something in this box that'll make it feel better.
First aid kit, huh?
Not quite. And if you don't get your hands up, you'll need more than first aid.
Commander, it's a blast gun.
We're taking over the ship, boy. Do as you're told, and you'll stay alive.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Voice from the Future. It's hot stuff.
What's hot stuff?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
That's hot stuff.
That's what I said. Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa is hot stuff.
So what are we arguing about?
I have stopped mixing me up. There's no argument about Nestle's Ever-Ready because everybody agrees it makes the most wonderful cup of hot chocolate in the universe.
You said a mouthful, Captain Two-Feld. Nestle's makes such a rich, chocolatey, delicious hot chocolate, it's out of this world. And there's no mixing up either because Nestle's Ever-Ready practically makes itself.
That's right. All you do is put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's Ever-Ready in your cup. You add hot water, and it's made.
You don't have to add milk or sugar because Nestle's is complete.
Yes, Nestle's has rich, whole milk and sugar already in it.
And you know something? What I like best about Nestle's is that sensational Nestle's flavor. There's nothing quite like it. It's real chocolatey, too. A terrific treat any time of day or night.
Glad you mentioned that, Hap, because we always recommend hot chocolate made with Nestle's for a breakfast warm-up. But we also like to see Space Patrollers drink it at all their meals and snacks, too.
Now, what did you say was the name of this product?
Oh, Hap, you're kidding me again. You know it couldn't be anything but Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
In the bright red can. That's Nestle's. And it's hot stuff.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Voice from the Future. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have just arrived at the Lunar Fleet Base on the Earth's moon. They're on a mission so secret that not even Happy knows the purpose of their rapid space flight from Terra to the solar system's most closely guarded test base. Right now, in an office reserved for the commander at the Lunar Fleet Base, Buzz slides open a large metal cabinet revealing a panel covered with a maze of instruments, control levers, gauges, and switches.
There you are, Hap. What do you think? Wow, it's wonderful. A model of a rocket cockpit.
Mm-hmm. It's a mock-up of the control section of a new rocket ship.
You don't mean the new star drive job, the big hush-hush operation?
That's it. Project Infinity has been completed. Or it will be as soon as we make a test.
Project Infinity. So that's what the code name stands for. The new star drive patrol ships. Well, when do we blast off?
The engineers are making the final inspection now. Rather than get in their way, I thought I'd give you a special briefing on this model.
Oh, that's sure needed. It looks different from the star drive control we've been using.
Yes, sir. This is a multi-purpose ship. It can be used for regular patrols in our solar system as well as for interstellar travel.
Oh, this cockpit has got everything. Viewscope, spaceophone, decoders, hyperspace computers.
Yes, anti-gravity controls and ultra-sensitive radiation indicators. We're prepared for almost anything you'll encounter anywhere in space.
I'll say. Yeah, I just noticed those atomic cannon controls. How far are we going to test this flight tonight?
Okay, Alpha Centauri, a little over 4 light years away.
One thing I've been wondering about, though, why all this secrecy? We don't have to worry about any trouble from Toronto anymore.
No, we can't be sure that some of the solar system doesn't have spies here in the United Planets.
Uh-oh. Something's happened that I haven't heard about. I can tell by your tones, sir.
Yes, sir. There's already been an attempt to steal the hyperspace drive designs. Fortunately, the attempt was foiled. We don't know whether the thief is from one of our planets or from another solar system.
Well, maybe some Terranian spies are still here and don't know that their attack plans are all washed up.
Whoever's responsible, we can't afford to take chances. Let's go over this rocket cockpit model in detail, and we'll be ready for the real test. Elsewhere in the office of the Red Star Space Lines in Lowell City on the planet Mars, Rourke Dexter leans back in his chair and stares dreamily at the huge space chart on the wall. Behind Dexter, the door opens, and Nate Soren shambles in and settles his huge frame in the only remaining chair.
Something wrong, sir?
There's something wrong, he says. I just made my last flight for Red Star. I'm out of a job. And working for Red Star is no recommendation. You'll be lucky to get a job shipping paint.
Trouble with you, Soren, is you're always looking on the dark side of things.
What other side is there? Things are as black as... That was that space chart. Look, there goes the last chip. When it sets down at Jupiter City, that light will blink out. You will be operations chief of a grounded fleet.
Those old traitors have served their purpose.
They sure have, Dexter, and so have you. I just hope you made a fortune out of hijacking cargo from other outfits. You're going to have to live on it for a long time.
Soren, how would you like to continue working for me?
Doing what?
The only thing you know, spaceship.
Ha.
We're going back into the shipping business.
Under a different name, I suppose. That's nice. The Space Patrol will get on to us in no time.
That wouldn't do them any good. They'll never be able to catch us.
You crazy? They caught us before, didn't they? That's why we're both out of a job, remember?
Soren, listen. We're going to have an interstellar ship with star drive. We make our deliveries through hyperspace.
I know you're crazy.
Am I? Listen to this. Corey's going to test one of those new star drive ships. He's at the Lunar Fleet Base right now.
I'll have to find that out.
All right. I have very good sources of information. I almost got a copy of the designs of the new rocket cockpit. When my agent failed, I got the idea of stealing the ship itself. It's much better. It saves us the time and expense of building one of our own.
What's my cut?
25% of our profit. And that's pretty good for a pilot. And you don't take the risk you did under the old setup.
Well, all of a sudden, this is beginning to make sense.
Of course. And as I say, there's no risk. Once you got into hyperspace, the Space Patrol can never trail you.
The big question now is, how do we get that new ship away from the Space Patrol?
I've got it all figured out. The test vector is supposed to be top secret. But I picked out a little information.
Meantime, back at the Lunar Fleet Base, Buzz and Happy are in the rocket cockpit of the new Star Drive ship, all set to blast off. Menacori aboard test ship SD-1 calling Lunar Space Control.
Space Control Luna here, Commander.
Request space lock clearance for immediate blast off.
Space lock number 3, ready as ordered.
Space lock 3 confirmed. Corey out. Set magnetic compensator for space lock 3, huh?
Yes, sir.
5 seconds. 3 seconds. Fire rocket. Hold it at this rate till we're beyond the Jupiter orbit. Then we'll increase to attain star drive velocity near Neptune.
Uh-oh. Commander, the U-boat screen. It's a spaceship. Looks like a cargo ship, sir. What's it doing clear out here?
That seems to be in free fall. I don't see any rocket flying.
What do we do? Change vector?
All the trouble we took to make a nice private test, some old hawk flying around. Yes, Hap, we'll give him a wide berth. 5 starboard rockets.
Yes, sir.
Cargo ship JF307 calling Space Patrol. Emergency.
Emergency? Is that him?
Get a space phone fixed before the answer.
Cargo ship JF307 calling Space Patrol ship now 10 TUs off our starboard. Emergency.
Yes, sir, it's him. And he's calling us.
Trouble is, it's not too serious. We'll alert the people to the control unit. Space Patrol, a cargo ship JF307. What's your difficulty?
We're badly damaged. Our power's out. We've got to abandon ship. We're in spacesuits now.
Can you hold out in free fall until the tow ship gets here from Jupiter?
We're in a real spot. My partner's injured, and we're taking a lot of radiation.
Radiation?
Yes, something went wrong with our reactor shielding.
What happened? The meteor hit you?
Worse, sabotage.
We'll get you off that ship right away. How many are aboard?
2, my partner and I.
He's injured.
Yes, but he can walk. Look, the radiation count's way above the danger point. It'll take you several minutes to maneuver into position.
We'll make it as fast as we can. Oh, wait. Have you got a space raft aboard?
Yes, I was just about to suggest it.
Fine. You get your friend aboard the raft and get away from your ship. Even a few hundred yards will cut down the radiation count considerably. Hurry out. What happened? We're going to have to delay our team. We've got to see that those men get medical attention as soon as possible.
Okay.
Bring out a couple of spacesuits, Matt. We'll have to help that injured man into the airlock.
A few moments later, Buzz decelerates the spaceship as he sights the tiny space raft floating away from the damaged cargo ship under the propulsion of compressed air from the jetpack. With rockets cut off, Buzz and Happy stand in the airlock of their ship, looking through the open hatch as the raft maneuvers closer.
Menacori to space raft. Can you read me?
Yes, Commander.
Accelerate with your forward jetpack. It'll save your pal a rough bump.
Sure.
Raft is secured, sir. Magnetic field is holding it steady. Is your partner conscious?
Yes, but he's pretty weak.
We'll help him aboard.
Come on, pal. On your feet. We're safe now. That's it.
I've got his arm. There you go. Have steady him while I help you.
I can manage fine, thanks.
You better let me take that box with you aboard.
It's okay. There's some personal effects.
All right, close the hatch, Hap. Let's get into the ship. Yes, sir. I'll get the inner hatch. Okay, we can raise our face pieces now.
Well, the cadet will take you back after you can get out of those spacesuits.
Half that injured man, Mr. We've got to hold him.
Yes, sir.
I've got something in this box that'll make him feel better.
Oh, first aid kit, huh?
Not quite. If you don't get your hands up, you'll need more than first aid.
Commander, it's a blast gun.
You're taking over the ship, Corey. Just obey orders. You'll find it's a simple way to stay alive.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Now hear this, Space Patrollers, the most important announcement we have ever made. Right now, today, you can get a model of the rocket cockpit, a scientific, accurate scale model of the new Star Drive patrol ship called Project Infinity. It's the very one Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are testing in this exciting adventure. Gang, listen to this. Your model rocket cockpit has everything the real one has. A big moving viewscope that shows you all the major planets and tells you their names. You can send and decode secret messages with the master coders. They have a system that will be known only to space patrollers. And you'll get a big bang out of the sensational atomic cannons. They have real sighting mechanisms, and you can fire projectiles accurately from port or starboard side. You'll control gravity with the thrust handles that govern special rocket mechanisms. And you'll be able to set the special time computers to Star Drive, the secret invention that takes you through time at heretofore unbelievable speeds. Yes, gang, your model rocket cockpit has all these moving parts and plenty of other dials, computers, and control devices. And it's so real-looking, you'll feel you're in your own ship, having all kinds of exciting adventures for yourself and your pals. Your rocket cockpit stands more than a foot high, almost 2 feet wide, and it has 9 moving controls. And there'll be lots more fun for you if you can follow along in your rocket cockpit and receive the secret messages the commander will be sending out from time to time. Now, I'm sure that every one of you listening today will want to send for your very own rocket cockpit. So here's what you do. Send your name and address and 25 cents in coin, plus 2 wrappers from any size Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. Again, it's your name and address and 25 cents in coin, plus wrappers from any 2 Nestle's chocolate bars to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. And hurry, fellas and girls, don't miss a minute of the fun of owning your very own rocket cockpit. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Voice from the Future. Buzz and Happy are making a test flight of a new Star Drive ship when they're hailed by a cargo ship claiming to have been sabotaged. Leaving the 2 occupants of the cargo vessel to be in danger of radiation from the damaged ship, Buzz orders them to launch a space raft and leave the wreck. The space patrollers pull the 2 men aboard their ship, whereupon one of the men suddenly produces a blast gun from a metal box he's carrying. As he orders Buzz and Happy to raise their hands, the other man, supposedly injured, briskly steps forward.
Keep them covered, sir.
What?
Yes, Commander. By the way, I owe you something for putting the Red Star line out of operation.
You did that yourself by your crooked method.
I am back in business, Corey, as of this minute.
Let's not stick around here too long, Dexter. We've got to make Corey get us away from here.
We will need him to operate the regular rocket drive. Besides, there's probably a technical manual aboard if we get stuck. In fact, I think all you do to cut in the rockets is press this lever. You got it! That'll get us far out in space. We'll look up Corey and the Cadet and try to figure out that Star Drive.
I'm warning you, Dexter. Don't play around with that hyperspace drive. It involves the kind of arithmetic where 2 and 2 don't always make 4.
I can figure it out. And if I get stuck, I'll make you give us a hand.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, Corey, what Dexter and I already know about the Star Drive. You'd be surprised at what you don't know about.
Lauren, march him back aft and lock him up. I'm going to get this ship into hyperspace before Corey's outfit starts searching for him.
Locked in an aft compartment of the ship, Buzz and Happy are helpless as Dexter and Soren fumble with the Star Drive controls.
You think they'll be able to work it, sir?
They might hit us the right procedure, just by chance.
Maybe one of the other ships will come along looking for us when we don't report back.
They're going to stop Dexter. They better do it before he stumbles onto the Star Drive.
They've hit the combination. We're going into Star Drive.
We aren't up to peak rocket velocity. I'm blacking out.
So am I. I bet they are, too.
If we come to first, maybe we can break out of here.
Under the stress of the sudden transition from regular three-dimensional space to hyperspace, Buzz and Happy lose consciousness. Then, as they lie on the deck of the compartment, they dimly become aware of the strange pulsations of a hyperspace drive. For what seems like hours, they're unable to move. Even their minds are sluggish, unable to concentrate. At last, Buzz struggles to his feet and tugs at Happy.
Come on, Happy. Try to step on.
It's sort of strange. Like I'm half dreaming.
We've got to find out what's going on up in the rocket cockpit.
We're still in star drives from the sound of things.
Yeah. I've never been in hyperspace this long before.
Not even when we made that 500,000 light-year trip 7 weeks ago.
Let's see if we can get that compartment door open.
Yes, sir. Well, one thing about this ship, it's built strong.
Now, hold it, man. Somebody's unlocking the doors. Be on guard. Maybe we can overpower them now.
Corey!
Sorry.
Corey! I've got him, Commander.
Corey, help. Get Dexter.
Something's wrong with Soren.
He's slow. Dexter's going crazy. The ship, it's out of control. Captain, drag him in.
Yes, sir.
We'll lock him up and get up to the cockpit. Hurry.
Dexter's just standing with the controls with his back to us.
You still have that blaster.
All right, Corey. Take it easy. I got you covered.
Got yourself in a fine nest, Dexter.
Are you going to get me out? Fix the star drive. Go on, get busy.
What did you do to your pal, Soren?
He went off his rocket. I had to block him. Where is he?
He's locked up back there. He said you were crazy.
Tell me what's wrong. Everything's black outside the ship. No stars, nothing, just pitch blackness.
It's the way it always is in hyperspace. We're in another dimension. Light doesn't register.
There's some light. I saw it. Flashes of blue and violet, real mixed up and crazy. Corey, you got to get us out of this.
Just keep under control. I'll take a look at the hyperspace computer. Are these instruments exactly as you first set them up?
No. I blacked out. And when I came to, that blackness out there got me worried, so I started turning the dial.
Oh, you really messed things up. You aren't supposed to change a thing while the ship's in hyperspace. It throws us clear off vector.
You can fix it. You got to.
Look, there are millions of possible combinations of settings. We might spend the rest of our lives in hyperspace trying to find a setting that would bring us out in regular space.
Well, don't stand there talking. Do something.
Remember, Dexter, we're in this fix because you were doing something.
I couldn't help it. The darkness and then those flashes and the voices. Those voices were the worst of all. Voices? What voices? From the spaceophone. It was gibberish and strange yowls. They about drove me out of my mind. I cut them off. I didn't think a spaceophone would work in hyperspace.
Ordinarily it won't. But Dexter has things so messed up, we'll try.
Smoking rockets. Where did that come from?
No way to tell. Evidently some spaceophone signals filter through in slits like those flashes of light.
Yeah, but from where? That sound certainly wasn't from our solar system.
Hap, I think we're on some sort of spiral in hyperspace. We're whirling round and round.
Pull us out of it.
There's no way to tell what direction to go, either in time or space.
There's another signal, sir.
Expect the agreement to have a beneficial effect on world commerce.
Commander, it's English.
New York City. 4 Australian swimming champions arrived here today and immediately plunged into the final phase of training for the Olympic Games.
It's a newscast.
Officials of the Olympic Committee are confident that world records will be broken this year in track and field events as well as in other sports.
That's funny. There aren't
One
any Olympic
prediction
Games
is
this
certain.
year.
More athletes will compete in the 1972 Olympic Games than in any similar event in history.
You say 1972?
That's what it sounded
Fine.
like, but I don't...
I've just been handed a special bulletin. White Sands Proving Grounds, New Mexico. A 3-stage rocket carrying 2 men has landed on the moon. A radio report from across 238,000 miles of space states that both men are safe. There are no details at present. But, friends, there's no doubt about it. The era of space travel is definitely here. We'll keep you informed of further...
Hey, is that guy nuts? Why is he so excited about a rocket reaching the moon? That's been going on for 1,000 years.
Yes, he did say 1972. And it was in October 1972 that the first man-piloted rocket reached the moon.
Sure, everybody knows that. What kind of a newscast was that? All ancient history. It's a wonder he didn't tell us about Columbus.
Don't you realize what happened? We picked up a broadcast that left Earth over 1,000 years ago.
What?
It's our yardstick.
Our measuring rod.
Now you're sounding crazy.
Let me adjust that time computer in the rocket cockpit. Now we know our approximate position in hyperspace. We're at the distance a radio signal would travel in. Let me see, from 1972 to now, it's 1,009 years.
Corey, what are you going to do?
I'm going to reset our hyperspace vector. If we haven't completely gummed up the works, we'll emerge back in regular space a few light years from the solar system.
Nothing's happening. It's not going to work. We'll be in this crazy mixed-up space the rest of our lives.
You should kick, Dexter. You were mixed up in regular space. Commander, you've hit it.
Right, Hap. Hold on, we're coming out of star drive.
Commander, you did it. Look through the viewport. Stars, hundreds of them. We're back in regular space.
Where are we? Are we near the solar system?
Let's check. There's Orion, Hercules.
And over there is Andromeda.
The solar system is about 5 light years in that direction.
Good. Set up the computer.
It'll be fairly simple this time.
Hey, Commander, I've been thinking about that news broadcast that we picked up.
Yes, Hap, what about it?
That was something that happened 1,000 years ago, and yet we heard it just as though it was taking place in the present.
It was probably a rare freak condition in hyperspace. A leak through the space-time warp. Something we can't regulate.
Well, if it happened to an event in the past, could it happen to a future event? I mean, could we pick up a broadcast of next year's news?
It's an interesting idea, huh? Offhand, I'd say no, but there's a lot we don't know about hyperspace.
Quit the chatter and set up the vector.
It's all set. I'll cut in the star drive.
No, you don't. I'll take over from now on. I know how to operate the star drive now. So I don't need you.
You'd better think twice, Dexter.
I know what I'm doing. I'm locking you up. And when we're back in the solar system, I'm turning you over to the big boss.
And who's that?
You'll find out soon enough. Now get back up. I'll let Thorin out and lock you up.
Are you sure you know how to work this star drive, Dexter?
Yeah. I've been watching Corey operating. I almost had it right the first time.
Sorry I lost my head a while ago. I thought we were finished.
Forget it. From now on, we've got nothing to worry about. Well, here we go into the star drive. See? There's no blacking out. In a few seconds, we'll be back in the solar system.
Say, you really have got it down.
Official Space Patrol bulletin from Terra headquarters.
Well, that's Corey's voice, but Corey's back up.
Attention all units to bulletin dated October 3rd.
What's going on here today? Shut up!
Discontinue search for star drive test ship and the new rocket cockpit. The ship has been returned to Lunar Fleet Base. The thieves, Lord Dexter and Nate Soren, were captured yesterday and are being held at Terra headquarters. End of report. Corey out.
What does he mean we're captured? We're right here and... Dexter, what's the matter?
That was right. In hyperspace, you can pick up future broadcasts, just like you can the past.
What are you talking about?
We heard what is going to happen tomorrow. Somehow, Corey and the Cadet are going to overpower us.
Not if we fix it so they can't. Let's finish them now.
In the locked compartment, Buzz and Happy carefully placed their inflated spacesuits in a sitting position on a bunk, while listening intently for a sound at the door.
Just the helmets or the face pieces are away from the door, Hap. We want the suits to look occupied, at least at first glance.
Yes, sir. Do you think Dexter will fall for that spacephone call?
I'm not sure. We'll give him a rough joke.
After what I heard a while ago, I think maybe I believe a future broadcast myself.
Hap, get back against the wall next to the door. I'll hear someone. There's the secret of your spacephone call from the future, Dexter.
Yeah. They use their suit spacephone. Yeah. We'll just put an end to that. Get out of that bunk, Corey. You too, Cadet.
Yeah, your little practical joke is going to prove fatal. For you.
Get Soren, Hap. I'll handle Dexter.
All right, hold the blaster on. I'll go up to the cockpit to check the position.
I'm not licked yet, Corey. And don't think your fake spacephone call fooled me. I knew all the time it wasn't the broadcast from the future.
That was no fake, Dexter. Every word about your capture is true. That same bulletin will be spaceophone tomorrow, won't it, sir?
Yes, Hap. Here's the ironic part of it, Dexter. You made it come true by trying to make it false.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Say, is it true that Space Patrollers can now get models of the new rocket cockpit?
That's right, Hap. We're offering every Space Patroller a model of our new rocket cockpit for his very own.
Smoking rockets, Commander. That's cosmic. A model of the rocket cockpit is so real, we use it as a trainer. And it has so many moving parts, so many terrific controls.
It certainly is the most exciting offer we've ever made. Space Patrollers, your rocket cockpit is an exact model of the one on our brand new Star Drive ship. It has a big moving viewscope, special gravity controls, master decoder and decoder, big, powerful atomic cannons you can actually fire, and, of course, the special time drive computers that enable you to fly through time into hyperspace.
Wait till you see it. It's more than a foot high and almost 2 feet wide. Boy, will you want to get one, and fast.
Gang, here's how to get your rocket cockpit. Send your name and address and 25 cents in coin, plus the wrappers from any 2 Nestle's chocolate bars, to Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Nestle, Box 54, St. Louis, Missouri.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on Mars, searching for a special piece of electronics equipment from another solar system. A girl guides them to a room where 2 men are carrying a heavy instrument. Just what is that instrument, Gavin?
I don't know. An acquaintance asked us to get it. Set it on, Gordon.
Hey, look out for that chair.
How clumsy it is. It's smashed to bits.
Well, maybe it can be fixed. Here, I'll help you pick up the pieces.
Don't bother, Cadet. Get it. Hey. Get the girl, Gordon. I'll cover these 2 with a blast gun.
Be sure to be with us next week for the thrilling story, Message to Arctona on Space Patrol. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, and Bela Kovac. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday for exciting action on Space Patrol. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.